Chad, I got popcorn. Bom, bom, bom. Oh. Yo. Bum, 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 bum. Cool. Okay, so I got an official response from Blizzard. They added me to the gifted sub campaign. Yes, very exciting for Dragonflight. So I got the drops. I'm on the 2 gifted subs. So after 5 p.m., if you gift 2 subs, then you get the pet, the in-game pet. So big time. Chad, you guys having a good day so far? How long will it take for fursuits? Okay. Listen, guys. So here's the plan. I don't know if you guys saw my alt Twitter and on Discord I was talking. So here's what I want to do with the green screen contest. I think it will be much better. I'm gonna order like some costumes and some props and stuff. And we're actually gonna wait to do the filming for the green screen contest until after I get some stuff for it, just to make sure. Like, look, we spent all this money on this amazing green screen, you know. Look at that! Doesn't that thing look crazy? It's amazing. Oh, let me turn on the camera. So we get this incredible green screen made, right? We might as well we might as well do it right? We got this green screen made. We might as well do it right, okay? Let's get some costumes, some props. It just got finished yesterday, so I was like, okay, boom, let's do the contest. But I changed my mind. I thought it was better if we do it this way. I think literally everybody agreed, so that's just the plan. So I'm gonna start ordering stuff on Amazon, and then maybe we can look at some of that stuff on stream, like costumes, props, and then we'll do the filming for the EsfandTV Film Festival. Yeah? Good? It's white dot on the floor, it's just a piece of paper. Your legs are so small. My legs are not small. You think my legs are small? The hell are you talking about? My legs are not small, dude. I got freaking big beefy legs. I don't have cankles. You meant swole? Oh, okay. Little legs. This is literally not little legs. This is like, I got freaking haunches.
My thighs were 32 inches each when I played football.
Nice. Dude, I'm like sweaty. Why am I sweaty? Popcorn?
He's so handsome, smart, funny, and totally doesn't own a sex cult. Please remove this when you resub or else.
Ivan, thank you for the 30 months. Putt Putt, thank you for the 9 months. Merrick's, thank you for the 26 months. Tomer, thank you, Tomer, for the 9 months. Dirty Doctor UK, thank you for the 6 months. Random, thank you, Random, for the 5 months. WZ Christian, 11 months. Woo Man, thank you, Woo Man, for the tier 1. Wide People Simon, 2 years. Thank you for the 2 years, Wide People Simon. And then 47 months, Moonsty offline resub. Look at that. Judge Jehovah, thank you for the 3 months. Oh, Bear, thank you for the 3 months. Launch Hype, I do think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun leveling with Bonnie today. She, like I said, she's never played retail before, so I think it'll be actually interesting. Thank you, Esfand, for my sub. Yeah, true. What's up, his frankness? Oh. Mouse got gamer crust. My mouse I actually don't have a crusty mouse. Do you guys have crusty mices? What time is Iran USA tomorrow? What is this? Iran calls for Iran calls for US to be kicked out of 2022 World Cup after it changes Iran flag on social media to show support for protesters. Iran state media has called for the US to be kicked out of the World Cup after the United States Soccer Federation changed Iran's flag on its social media platforms to show support for protesters in Iran. Federation had temporarily disabled Iran's national flag on its official Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook accounts without the emblem of the Islamic Republic. A now deleted graphic of the Group B standings post on Saturday displayed the Iranian flag only bearing its green, white, and red colors. U.S. Soccer told CNN on Sunday that it wanted to change the official flag for 24 hours to show support for the women in Iran fighting for basic human rights, but always planning to go back to the original flag. The change was a one-time graphic. U.S. Soccer told CNN, "We have the main flag on our website and other places. The emblem is currently back on the flag on U.S. Soccer's social media channels." Spokesperson of the State Department told CNN it did not coordinate with the U.S. Soccer and the sporting bodies' decision to change Iran's flag on its social media accounts to show support for protesters in Iran. "We look forward to a peaceful and competitive match on the field. The United States continues to find ways to support the Iranian people in the face of state-sponsored violence against women and brutal crackdown against peaceful protesters." Dude. They should have doubled down. They shouldn't have deleted this. They should have doubled down. There's not a single person in the world with any sort of remotely like an ounce of reasonability that is supportive of anything that their government's doing. It's insane. Dude, and imagine if FIFA kicked out imagine if FIFA kicked out the US because of this. Imagine the shit show it would be for them. Like, what a bunch of pussies. It's so bad too, because it's not about the players, right? It's not like the player. It sucks because the players are getting freaking they're freaking taking strays because of the government. You know? It's a music bedroom. By posting a distorted image of the flag of the Islamic Republic of Iran, its official account, the U.S. football team breached the FIFA charter, for which a 10-game suspension is the appropriate penalty. This is so bullshit, dude. People are so stupid. Amazing athletes being overshadowed by government shortcomings is pretty shitty. Yeah, exactly. Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait till the World Cup is here next World Cup. There better be a new badge when I get 3 years, dude. We'll get new badges, okay? Next World Cup in Alaska. Dude, I feel like World Cup tailgates would be insane.
Imagine a dog with the head of a bald man walking towards you slowly in a dark forest under the moonlight of a blood moon, trolling for those haunches you call legs. It wants a bite of those legs with some football ice cream.
Oh, shoot it, Mo!
Hey, stop spamming in Farsi.
Green screen contest. Thanks for the 17 months of entertainment, EsfandTV. Much love. Less than 3.
Bamazor, thank you for the 17 months, dude. I tweeted about it on my alt Twitter on EsfandTV Radio. I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna order like costumes and stuff. Because I was like, let's hit it right away. But yeah, Bamazor, thank you for the 17 months. Shabusha, thank you for the 5 months. Butch Best, thank you for the 9 months. I'm so chat. I love popcorn. World Cup tailgate would be dope. Please get rid of that one. Dude, that TTS is terrifying.
USC tailgate episode was one of my faves. Was good to see you guys interact with the crazy SC fans.
Dude, it was really good, Greenstone. Why make sports about politics, though? You know what? You know what, man? Fair. That's, to be fair, I do think a lot of times whenever people get overly political in sports, it gets really irritating. To be fair, it's just this the stuff in Iran is like just really bad. That's all. So because that's the way that I look at sports, right? Especially like the World Cup. Like to me, it's like I just want to watch soccer. I just want to watch football. What is so hard about that? I don't know. My girlfriend and her husband got COVID. Wait, what? I got back to lifting after hearing you talk about your bench as a senior being 405. How'd you do that? Did I lie? Oh, no, I lied. No, I benched 330 in high school. I benched 400 in powerlifting with a suit on. I did 405 with a suit on, but without a suit, just raw, I did 330. I lie a lot. Didn't want to admit the kid was stronger. Yeah, dude, I think he was lying. He was not a sophomore. He was a sophomore in college. Soccer has always been a political sport. It's just weird for Americans because we try to not make sports political. Maybe. Is that the case? With the suit on? What MLS team do you support? FC Dallas. FC Dallas. Okay. Have you been to a Jackals game yet? Is Jackals FC Austin? I'm waiting to return to the FIFA series. Yeah, dude. We did Madden yesterday. Madden was so fun, man. Madden was so fun. Licking lips to the text. It's because I have popcorn on my lips. I'm so stoked for the ASG, especially how this baseball season we just had. Wait, what's the ASG? Yeah, dude. I opened my phone in the first place for to change my lights. Chat, what song is this game from? Frick! What game is this song from? We can get along. I thought that I was strong. Not buying all the pills. Wait, what? Chat, everyone like my tweets. Chat, like my tweets right now or else. Dude, the perspective of this camera is nuts. Look how long my finger looks. Hey, look how long my finger is. Isn't that crazy? It's from Madden? Yeah, it's from Madden. Is it 04? I don't remember which one it's from. Can you get my booger? What's up, Frowsy? Okay. Try your dick. Damn. Okay. Yes. Who would I email other than the OTK shop store to get the Black Friday price of merch I ordered before Black Friday? I don't know. I don't know if they're doing that. I don't know what the policy is on that. But try emailing. Try emailing that same one. Man has a shitty soundtrack now. What happened? Dude, Madden's soundtrack, I'm gonna be honest, I think Madden's soundtrack sucks ass in the last few years. The last few years of Madden's soundtrack sucks ass. The best Madden soundtracks, you know when it peaked was like 2010 range. I don't remember what exact year it was. I think it was like Madden 10, Madden 11. Cause they had like a really like wide variety of genres. Now it's all mumble rap. It's literally all mumble rap, and it sucks ass. There might be like two good songs max a year. Is your dad from Bloodsport movie Van Damme's fight partner? Yes. Ringo Mingo, thank you for the 32 months. Nerdgasm, 41 months. Squirtle, thank you for the Twitch Prime. 2008? Yeah, like all those Maddens were really good. Alizé. I don't listen to Alizé. Crazy Train, Madden Beast. That was the, I think that was 2010, wasn't it? Madden 10 soundtrack. Oh, boy. Okay, let's look at this. Look, Madden 11 had Thunderstruck. Wait, was this? Hold on, was this on Madden 11? This song that was like on every sports game for like 8 years. The song was okay. This song was good before it got overplayed. I did think the song was good, but it got overplayed. What are you doing to your room? Well, I rearranged it a little bit for the green screen. To be honest, this song was pretty good. It just got overplayed. Wait, I don't think this was the actual Madden 11 soundtrack. Was it? Welcome to the Jungle. Dude, so I think this is like when I think of like football, when I think of like the football like kickoff music, this is the song. Like this is like football kickoff. Like the intro to Welcome to the Jungle is so good. And if you've ever been to an NFL game, like have you ever been to a Cowboys game? They'd play this. I remember going to a Cowboys game in high school one time. And it was in the dome, you're in the stadium, the roof was covered, and you just hear like, I remember hearing this right here. This echoes, the guitar riff echoes, and the chant. Insane, dude. It's absolutely, dude. It was so cool. The first time I went to a Cowboys game, insane, dude. Wait, did I say the chat or the crowd? I meant the crowd. I meant the crowd. It was so good, man. It was unbelievable. This song is a classic, dude. I love this song. This is like the Packers theme song. Got an audio figured out for the gym yet? So I'm getting soundproofing done in the gym. I don't want to work. I want to bang on the drum all day. The song makes me think of water parks. Dude, what is this?
We were hearing lots of feedback now.
Hold on. The hell is this, dude?
We were hearing lots of feedback, not just about anger at the revelation of the lawsuit, but about the state of the game. Your I'm quitting video very much included.
Holy shit!
We're missing something big here, right? Our goal at the end of the day is to make a world that players want to spend time in.
Is this the Snapchat filter?
And that's the passion that drives all of us. And we're failing.
This is the third day we've been here on the Blizzard campus.
We're gonna watch this. We're gonna watch this preach video. We'll watch this preach video in a little bit. People have been asking me to watch it for a while, but we'll watch it in a little bit, dude. So I actually got a chance to go visit Blizzard before Classic launched. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I'll talk about it later. Is it Classic? We're just gonna react in the WoW section today. We're gonna do just chatting in the WoW section until it's time. And this one. This is a good one too. It's like a good like sports. They invited Preacher Visit because he's most vocal about being completely done with Blizzard. Yeah, maybe. Madden 11 was one of the Maddens where they were focusing a lot on like the game experience. Like they wanted it to make it more realistic. So they were playing like songs that people actually play in stadiums. And then we will rock you. It's a classic. But okay, isn't halftime? Wasn't the song on NFL Street? Wasn't this on NFL Street like 6 years before this? This song? So they recycled this one. This is such a good soundtrack, dude. Yin Yang Twins and Homeboy. Crazy Train's a classic. This was such a good soundtrack. But you gotta, like, look at Madden 23 soundtrack. This is dog ass. Or 22, it doesn't matter. There's only like one or two good songs.
Yeah. Turn me up. Yeah. Hey, check it. Okay, I feel unstoppable. Losing's impossible. Go against the team, the thing they know not to do. Bright lights, game on the line. Do what I gotta do. Time after time, we do the impossible. You ain't made it till you got stylers go out and shop for you. You ain't made it till they pour champagne on top of you. Parading through the city.
To be fair, this is pretty good, actually. No, this one's actually good. No, this is actually good, actually. Actually. I don't know why EA thinks all Madden players like rap. Yeah, I don't know. But this song actually is good. I hadn't heard this one. This is a bad example. This for Team Select? Yeah. Yeah, this is good. But a lot of these other songs suck ass.
Put your head in the game, head in the game, head in the game. Head in the game, head in the game. I'm whipping in track, I was messed up suspension. I drove it so fast that I blew out the engine. I kept it too real ever since the beginning. I play offensive D, I might switch my position. Lil' mama was thirsty, so I had to quench. I'ma drive real fast, cause you know I shoot quick. Just like traffic Kelsey, I be having emotions. Just like a lamb, man, you know I'm exploding. My heart cold, bad, I ain't got emotions. I'm going hard, yeah, you know.
It's like auto-tuned mumble rap.
She love the kids, she be busting it over. I'm quarterbacking like I'm Kyler Murray. Trying to win, I'm up at practice early. Going crazy, I just rode the jersey. It's the first half, and we done tried 30.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this one.
I told my boys, it ain't no limit.
It started okay.
Told all my dogs, it ain't no limits. Put your head in the game, head in the game.
See Lamar's tweet? Yes, dude. This is so funny. Look at this tweet, chat. Look at this. This is so funny, dude. Dude, I love whenever people talk shit to people who are like in this position, and then they actually like clap back. I love it. I love it so much. Because the thing is like people think they can just say whatever the hell they want to anybody. And then when they turn around, they're like, no, like F you. Like, I love it. I love it. I've never smelled the football field. Never did shit with dick. I love this, dude. It's so funny. But see, none of these songs really... None of these songs really like... I mean, there's a few good ones. But there's just not that many.
You're back outside, but they still lied. Whoa, yeah. Take off the foo-foo.
And it's all one genre.
You all be capping too much on this app. MF never smelt a football field, never did shit sucker a dick.
I'm gonna take 10 steps, then I'm taking off top off. Take off from fabricate streams and a microwave.
Like, there needs to be more, like, there needs to be a wider variety of genres. Like, it's all the same. When did this change? Like, I used to get so excited every year for the Madden soundtrack. Yeah, I feel like 16 had some okay songs. I think this one was pretty good. This song, if I remember right, I think this one's pretty good. The hell?
EsfandTV.
Oh, that's right. They called it Madden 25. I forgot. Dude, what's gonna happen when Madden 25 comes out? Madden 12 was good. Madden 12 had a good soundtrack. This song's a classic. Back for More is really good. Boom is good. Architects is good. Dude, actually 12 soundtrack was badass.
Throwing dirt clock chunks, slingshot rocks.
12 soundtrack was really good.
Looking up to D boys with the pretty dunks. Slick sit down, you ain't in the city chump. Special K make the kiddies come. Get you some, get mini guns. Move 'em out, 10 toes down, penny none. Get your own dick, say won't give a dog a bone.
This one was pretty good.
Into endure, flesh into the core, Pauline D to
Beastie Boys. But it's good because it has like a wide variety. That's really what makes it. Oh my gosh. Madden 10. I was gonna say, what was the Madden that had Sabotage? That might have been the best soundtrack. Look, heads are gonna roll. Like, this is good. Them Bones is good. Created a Monster is pretty good. Revolution, this one's good too. Dude, literally every single one of these is like a banger. Then Sabotage, of course. This one's a classic. This is the best one. Madden 10 was the best soundtrack. Paranoid, Black Sabbath. So far, every single one of these has been good, which hasn't happened on a single soundtrack yet, except for maybe 11.
This bout is for the heavyweight championship of the world. I give you the one and only Cypress.
I remember this one. This one's pretty good. This is pretty good.
Have some money for older consoles. Should I get an N64 or PlayStation first?
PlayStation. PlayStation, Kilroy. Thank you for the 2 years, dude. The thing is with N64 is very easily emulatable, and PlayStation 1 is not. Banana, banana. Ace is high. Painkiller is good. Yeah, dude, this is so good. Even, dude, this is Kid Rock, but even this one works in the soundtrack. Because this one was like memey enough to where you can kind of make fun of it. Kid Rock, rich guy posing a trailer to Amber Wave Up. Yeah, this song's amazing. This is one of the best Kill Switch Engage songs. Yeah, Madden 10 might be the best soundtrack, period. I like how by one noise you can know it's a Korn song, yeah. Are you ready? Dude, we used to make fun of this. Dude, my senior year of high school, dude, we used to make fun of this song all the time, and I'm Bull God. We would meme, like, sing it. Are you ready? I don't know, we just randomly do it. What Madden game do you think has the best commentators? Oh, man.
Bro, D.
I feel like it was 09 was pretty good, wasn't it? Dude, I so badly want Tony Romo to be a commentator on Madden. I think that is, dude, Madden, EA absolutely has to get it figured out to where they can have Tony Romo commentate. He is so good, dude. He is so good. So good. Like, they have to get Tony Romo in there. It'd be amazing. Madden hasn't changed commentary in years. They've been changing a little bit, but it's, I do think it's time that they get somebody new in there. They need to get, like, fresh commentators. But Romo is far and away the best commentator right now. Far and away. Super relatable. Knows what he's talking about. Fun to listen to. He is so good. He is so good. Tony Romo would be calling plays where they happen. Dude, I think that'd be funny because the computer actually knows if it's a run play and stuff. It'd be funny if they had a bunch of sound lines. Like a bunch of sound, like, lines that he reads, like, oh yeah, you see them lined up in like a 3 tight end formation here. You know, I saw in film they're gonna go play. Like if he just calls it and then he runs it, like I think it'd be funny. It'd be good. As a British person, I have no clue what you're on about. You know what's crazy, James? As an American, I have no idea what I'm on about. There's Mastodon. Yeah, they got like Mastodon, Slipknot. They got like the genre. They have a genre of, or such a wide variety of like different genres of music, and this one is so good. This one was okay. I don't remember liking this one that much.
But you know, there's no turning back now. This is what makes me. This is what I am. Feel me?
By the way, James Powell, thank you for the 19 months. Thank you, dude. I just saw that. Call me Juicebox, 17 months. Thank you, Rich Under Empty Water. Thank you for the 4 months. Nirvana. Brawlenor, thank you for the Prime. Hefty Hank, thank you for the Prime. Banana, banana. Yeah, I remember this one. Dude, this whole soundtrack is good. Is Asmund shadow banned? That's weird. Asmund's not in the section. Wait, neither am I. What? Wait. I'm not in this section either. Am I? Am I crazy? Wait, Lyric wasn't in the section either. Wait, Wait, what? What the hell? Oh, it's because I'm running an ad. Wait, why is there an ad in... Wait, what? Is there an ad running right now? Dude, I hate this bug where, like, once you run an ad, it, like, tanks your viewership. Wait, no, it's not showing me. It's not showing me in the section either. What is it? Why is it not showing me for me? I don't see you. I sorted my viewers high to low. Recommended for you. Damn, is my stream dead? Should I just call it a day? Like, what's happening? Am I shadow banned? Do you usually see yourself? Yeah. You and Asmon aren't in the directory for me. Sorted and confirmed doesn't show you or Asmon. Apparently, we're both shadow banned. Range my viewers, I did.
I feel like it feeds it, like, that mentality feeds into shit like, just, like, gate, what is it?
Time gating.
Or time getting. I feel like it feeds into time getting.
I see you now, but I didn't before. Wait, maybe it's fixed. What is happening? Still not fixed for me there. What's up, Cowie? You're in just chatting? Wait, how am I in just chatting? I'm literally in WoW. You know what? Guys, listen, it doesn't matter. Madden 10 soundtrack is incredible. Literally every single one of these songs is good. And this song is a meme. Was this on Madden 10? Was this song on Madden 10? I thought this was like in Fight Night Round 2 or something.
Just found you scrolling down in WoW like 30 seconds ago.
I think I'm randomly shadow banned for some people, for other people I'm not. I don't know why. That's a big deal. You and Asmon not showing up? Yeah. Thank you for the 52 months, Cillian. I've seen recommended, but not by views. Wait, they added viewers low to high? Dude, this soundtrack, Madden 10 is the best soundtrack. Madden 10 is 100% the best soundtrack. 100%. Twitch music audio detection may cost them. I don't think so. Technon is still trying to buy a car. Dude, I've been trying to buy a car forever too. No, I do. Look, I follow all these channels. It just shows recommended, even channels that you follow. Who is this? No, not behind Tectone, not Tectone. Hello, Reverend Tectone. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just effed. Try switching category. As Asmund will tag for stream, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Asmund Gold, Zach Rar. Just put everyone in there. Yeah, that's good. Drops. Yeah, just throw them all in there. There we go. What else, chat? I got room. I got up to 10 tags. What else? World first. Just throw them all in there. Elon Musk. Twitter. Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton. What else? Amaranth. Joe Rogan. Oh, I gotta change one. No, that's good. Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah. Dude, I'm just still shadow banned. On the Samsung TV app, it's been bugged for a few days. Doesn't show fall streamers that are live. I have to look for them. Yeah, dude, the TV apps suck, actually. US. It's fixed for me now. Someone from Twitch is messaging me, actually. Yeah, I'm talking to somebody from Twitch. Let's see. Alright. Hopefully they fix it soon, chat. Yeah, I think sometimes it's showing me and sometimes it's not showing me. That's what you get for giving me the toe idea. Unbelievable. Unbelievable coast. Well, either way, it looks like they're fixing it. So, I was talking to somebody from Twitch. It looks like they're fixing it. So, anyway, we'll be fine. Yeah, that's super weird, Dr. 11. Okay. Why is there no game sound? Options, audio. Hello? Oh. Sick. How's that fan level 77? Oh, dude. What is max level? 65 or 70? I don't even know. Okay. Hold on. Do I do the meme again, chat? Do I do the meme again? Every single launch I've done this and people get so confused. It's so funny that I debate so many people every single launch. Yeah, it's gonna be harder with this one though, because it's like kind of transparent. You see that? You know what I need to do? I need to do it like this. I don't think, man, this one's gonna be harder to debate people with. This is so weird that the UI, this is the default UI now. I don't even know if I like this. You can change transparent part with the. Huh? I should probably learn how to play like this, shouldn't I? I should probably learn to play like this, shouldn't I? Do you need a swing timer in retail or no? Target and focus. Talking head over here. Party frames. Options. Interface. Display power, display class colors. How do you do how do you change it like in classic to where it's like every group you're in is a raid? Edit mode? Yeah, but it's not showing. Edit. See what I'm saying? It's in party frames. Use raid style party frames. There we go. Sort by role, sort by alphabetical, sort by group, sort by role. Save. Options. Okay, I think that'll be good. Okay, so how are we gonna play this game? Make a huge raid and go ERP in Goldshire. Okay, well that's not what I was planning on doing today. Pet bar. Extra abilities. What is this? Encounter bar. What is encounter? Possess bar. These are the brakes. Legal exit button. Did I get everything? I think I did. When can I give you money to the pet? After 5 p.m. After 5 p.m. CST. Yeah. Who the hell is this drag
There is much to discover. So many possibilities.
ESF. I'll be back with you $10. Sounds good, dude. Wait, doesn't Rhett suck in Dragonflight too? What is this thing? Everybody's saying Rhett sucks in Dragonflight too, from what I hear. The hell? The hell? So OP.
Suck this.
I'm ready for sex dungeon initiation. Okay, we're leaving. You running around town meta? True. Esfand is back to WoW? I mean, I never quit. It's just I just don't stream it that much. Actually, I've been streaming it a fair amount. Okay, so now here I am flying. Yeah, I don't play. I don't really play retail that much, but I've been playing classic the whole time. What do you guys think Bonnie should play? Cooldown is too long for Soar. Wait, where's the oh yeah, that's right. See, I wish Surge Forward had like Surge Forward should have hold on, let's see how I can go. Little speed boost. Dude, that's crazy. I'm still staying up. Oh, no! Frick! This is obsolete with basic flying allowed? Yeah, but it's fun. It is kind of fun. The CD starts when you land. Can you do it in arenas? What's up, Coolios? Oh. Okay, well, that's good. You can't do it in arenas, to be honest. Oh, man. Should I play an Evoker? Maybe I should get Bonnie to play an Evoker. Or should she play a Druid? What should she play? Dragonflight comes down in about 2 hours. Which actually, do you guys want to watch the Preach video?
Look at this.
Let's see here. What do we want to do? You know what I'll do while watching this video? I'll level that Death Knight. That seems like a good idea. I level that Death Knight while watching this.
All right, it is Tuesday. We are on our way for the first time. We're in the Uber right now with all our stuff. By now, you guys have probably seen the tweet that we're going to be filming today. I wrote a couple of days ago and was hoping Ian would be fine with it. A little nervous to see how they respond to us being there. This is really unprecedented for.
Didn't you say it's not playing anymore?
As well, they've never.
I mean, when people say that, here's the thing, chat. When people say they're not playing anymore, it means they're not playing anymore until something changes, right? Like it doesn't mean it's 100% forever. You know, like maybe it is forever, maybe it's not, but. Your opinions, it's a possibility. Like you're allowed to change your opinion.
They're going to take us behind the scenes. We'll have to sign NDAs because obviously they'll be working on late Dragonflight stuff and maybe even the next expansion as well. So one of the things is we noticed maybe a little nerves getting closer with the people we're going to be interviewing. They're not trained to be in front of camera and they might be a little worried about what some people might say with such long form discussions as we're having. But
chat, can I call you here? Listen what I'm saying. If you get your panties in a bunch about somebody saying they're quitting and then a year later they come back or some long period of time later they come back, you're dumb. They quit and then they came back. It's just a different, you know what I mean? It's just a different thing. Why are you getting weird about it?
honestly, the conversations we've had in the last day or so, everyone seems really excited to do this and to show the change that's happened at Blizzard, which is our role right now is what has changed, what happened. We know what happened, all the allegations. The Shadowlands not doing very well, and their previous expansions kind of going in a downhill trend, and now they seem to have changed their entire philosophy. So hopefully we can dig into what caused that, other than just financials and trying to get sub numbers up. How did they change their entire approach to the game? So that's what we're interested in. I hope it goes well. We're getting to meet so many cool people, and higher ups like serious execs. So fingers crossed, guys.
So this is crazy because I'll tell you, I actually had a chance. So me, Stay Safe, and Tips actually all went to go visit Blizzard before Classic launch. All three of us before Classic Beta came out. They actually invited us to go out there, and we got a chance to walk through everything. And but they said we couldn't take any pictures or we couldn't record anything or anything like that. So, but they toured us around like the entire facility. Yeah, so they toured us around the entire facility. This was 3.5 years ago, and because like we were kind of the ones like leading like the charge for Classic with Classic Cast and everything that we were doing. So they invited us all out there, and it was super cool. But what eventually happened was, or not what eventually happened, but what they said was that we couldn't record anything. So them letting Preach go and like take pictures and record everything is like actually pretty sick. So.
The sheer number of cases that came out at that point, I was like, oh my God.
I just want to be hype about it again.
We're missing something big here, and we're failing.
Time to give up on World of Warcraft.
Almost a year ago, after 10 years of making nearly daily World of Warcraft content, decided that I could no longer do it. My love of the game, my passion of the game, and my enjoyment of the game had been reduced to absolute zero. Dragonflight starts coming, and one of the messages I receive is they have changed practically everything that I disliked about the game. So, what changed? Blizzard suffered through heavy issues during COVID-19 and then a spate of sexual allegations and lawsuits which entirely disrupted the upper management. That's a lot that's happened. What's really changed? So, we decided we would go and find out properly. If I was going to play this game again, enjoy this game, and make content for this game again, I need to know the real truth. So we sent a message to Blizzard.
Where should I put this?
We're
Should I
not
put this
looking
here?
for money. In fact, we have paid to be here. That's right. This is not a marketing scheme. This is nothing that Blizzard has organized. They haven't asked me to come here. We asked them. We said, we will pay for it. We will come there. All we ask for is a bit of your time and sitting down properly. Over the years, I've done several interviews with Blizzard employees from the top brass, but always under limitations. Being in front of a live Twitch stream, being in front of prepared questions or general guidelines of the things we're going to talk about. And I don't want any of that today. And Blizzard said yes. They said, absolutely. We will give you a week on our campus. We will give you unprecedented, unfiltered access to our facilities and to what is going on. So as you can see, guys, I am here. I am standing on the Blizzard campus in front of the famous Orc statue, and I have been and met absolutely everybody. Let's go on this journey and find out what the real truth is. First of all, let's sit
put
down
this here
with
and so I can
two
still
of
see
the
my
big
health bar.
guns. You probably haven't seen these outside of major announcements and don't know who they are, but they are very big deals. First, we're going to sit down with Holly Longdale. Holly joined in 2020 to take over the Classic team. She has so much MMO experience, it's ridiculous.
She worked on
She spent nearly
EverQuest.
10 years alone on EverQuest 2, getting their Classic game up and running, and she's now the vice president of all of World of Warcraft. With her, John Hyde. John's been in the game since 1993. He's worked
John
on
is
video
super
game
cool.
franchises you guys
I like John
probably
Hyde a
love,
lot.
like God of War, Command & Conquer Red Alert. He literally, and I mean this, wrote the book on how to create video games. He was a professor for years and joined the World of Warcraft team in 2011. He is now in charge of Warcraft, not just World of Warcraft, all of Warcraft. I couldn't miss the opportunity while I had these two here to find out how Classic came about and how it's probably influencing
happy
Dragonflight.
launch day smile.
I mean, Classic seems to have been a runaway success. Like the meme of it being, you think you want it, but you don't.
Yeah.
And now it's like,
oh, we want
We
it.
thought you didn't, but you did.
yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
how was that decision come to at the time? Like, what made the change there with
that?
That
we actually made Classic?
Yeah, that you were like, okay, they keep asking, we're going to do it.
Honestly, yeah, we didn't think it was going to be financially even necessarily a great decision as much as it was our fans are really asking for this. Some of our most devoted fans are asking for this. And it really was. When we say it was a love letter, it was a love letter. We justified it in the, hey, we do this. It's going to make our fans super happy. And, we're going to learn a lot in the process. But, I mean, come on. How many games have gone back and recreated that? And I did that on God of War, right?
Yep.
God of War 1 and 2 and up-resed them. But the game's still live. It's like you can still play those areas in modern. So going back and recreating that original experience, I don't think that's ever been done before.
I mean, RuneScape's tried. Old school RuneScape but they had to accept a lot of changes.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here with doing our EverQuest Classic servers. This WoW is a whole different
animal.
Yeah.
What challenges did you meet then that you weren't expecting? I guess.
With Classic?
Yeah, for sure.
Numbers, just vast.
Just the sheer amount of people playing it.
Numbers, yeah, and players never do what you expect them to.
True.
That's like every MMO lesson ever, right? It's the ants that just crawl across the planet.
But that's one of the beauties of it is, we're re-exploring and relearning, Classic. Even as much time and effort is spent in the archaeology of, does it match what the original game was like? But when players interact with it now, the skill that they have, the knowledge, that some of them have done it before, all these really interesting little edge cases and stuff that they find, and it's a day-to-day, wow, look what they figured out. It was based on.
Did you expect it to just be like everyone's going to play it for like a month? Yeah. Was that your expectation?
Kind of. I mean, I remember our original estimates, and it was kind of funny because we totally underestimated the number of realms we were going to have, and I can remember
So. I'm gonna add in occasionally with some of this stuff. So just from my history and what I know, because I worked pretty closely with Blizzard throughout Classic launch and whatnot, I was told from somebody at Blizzard at the time that when they basically had metrics they had targets for this is if Classic bombs was right here, if Classic bombed was right here. And then this is where it's it doesn't bomb, but they're like, okay, well, we did it, and that's fine. You had this where Classic is good, where it's okay, this is, hey, we're pretty happy with this. And then they had another number, which was if everything goes as well as possible, this is the target, this would be amazing, this is best case scenario, that'd be incredible. And they thought it was going to be somewhere plus or minus the good range. They thought it was going to be maybe a little bit lower than what they had for good, maybe a little bit better, whatever. So that max number that they had, the guy told me, he said, basically the best thing they could have possibly imagined was here, and the actual results of Classic launch were boom, just completely dwarfed it. It was massive, it was just so much bigger than they could have possibly imagined, and that was a big part of kind of what happened with Classic launch. Originally they only had 4 servers on launch. Now, there's been other issues with that, but the original plan was for them to only have 4 servers. And then they just couldn't even do it. But anyway, let's continue.
Arguing with one of our regions.
That's the reason I came back to
WoW. Very conservative, and we're only going to need this. And we'd flown out there, and we're no, we think based on our estimates in North America, you're probably going to want to have more than that. Within, and God bless the Classic team, but literally within weeks, they had to spin up 10 times our estimate.
Yeah. Almost like the original WoW.
To handle it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a recreate that back-end experience.
Except we had the technology this time. Then it was we don't have the hardware. What do we do? I don't know. Go up to fries.
Literally scrapping things together. Plug it in. Go. But it's been. I'm curious what you guys have learned from that. From what the players are doing in Classic that's now coming into the retail game. You were yeah, we should bring that into the retail.
You're seeing it, yeah. I mean, that's the exciting thing is Classic brought back these conversations about talent trees, revamping talents. Yeah. How much do you love spending your
That's
points.
the best
and
thing about
experimenting
Classic
with
is
if that was what your memory is. That's my memory.
the opportunity
of
to
Classic,
learn from it
or
for
vanilla.
retail.
And so the team recognized that. They're always taking the pulse too. It's like players really love that, and professions. I think the teams really wanted for a long time to be able to focus on professions as well. But even how we are looking at content, right? So more, you know, in vanilla or classic, there's the exploration factor. It felt less guided, and the team's taken that to heart too. And you'll see elements of that in Dragonflight as well. It's a really wonderful exploration about, you know, where are we now and where are we going to go in the future, and kind of taking stock and listening to the community. And it's pretty incredible to see it coming through in Dragonflight.
Yeah, I think there's social interaction, you know,
I
in
miss that
Classic,
so much.
you know, you had to, you know, just to get through stuff, you had to make friends. And we were all in this together. You know, I played in the beta, and I played, you know, WoW, I played for 18 years.
What's the biggest change you've seen in players? Because I talk about like what idyllic MMOs, you know, what would if I was creating an MMO, what it looked like, and I focus so much on the people, because I can't think of an MMO being anywhere what I would consider great without the people you play with. I think about my guild more than what's this feature, what's this content. But the growing loud voice that I've seen across many MMOs now, we're talking to so many MMO companies, a lot of players who just want the solo experience, and their biggest fear is actually other people. Which blows my mind, because I can't.
Yeah, see, that's how I am. I think it's weird.
Even the bad ones, because that's a moment. You know, I think about those moments with the bad people, and what's the biggest change you've seen in gamers in general?
I think you've actually identified one of the challenges that we face with World of Warcraft is we know that a lot of players just want to come in.
It's a
have
really
some
weird
fun,
thing now.
know that
There's a lot of people that want to play
for
WoW.
them to do.
There's a lot of people that want to play WoW
not
as a
have the
single-player game, and it's
pressure
super
of
weird to me,
having
but that's just how it is, I
to
guess.
interact with other people. But then they want to, you know, and then when they have that chance encounter, you know, where someone happens to be farming the same thing and you just got killed 3 times, and you know, okay, let's join in a group together. We did it. We killed it together. Awesome. That's cool.
You know what I think, and this probably isn't a very like, I don't know. This probably isn't like a very popular thing to say, but I feel like whenever MMOs were growing and whenever they were becoming popular and all this stuff, I think a big part of what made MMOs what they were was that opportunity to play with other people and like the social experiences that came with all that, right? So whenever that was the case, MMOs were growing and people were playing together and yada, yada, yada. Nowadays, there's a lot of times in MMOs where they want to cater to the solo player's experience. And it's almost like the game is trying to, and don't get me wrong, I think there should be some stuff that you can do solo. Like you can do it solo. It's just how it is. But I think whenever you cater too much to the solo player experience to where they can do like everything in the game by themselves, I think it takes away from the game like a lot, like a pretty significant amount. And I think it's to a degree that it's like damaging to the game. And I think that's one of the things that WoW has like tried to do too much. They're trying too hard to appeal to people that honestly, like, they're not trying to play an MMO. They're trying to play a single player game. So why are they playing an MMO? Razor, thank you for the 47 months. Hopkins, thank you for the Prime. Thank you, dude. I accept that by playing solo, I miss out on a large part of the game. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. Don't get me wrong. It's just that, like, why... I don't understand where the... I feel like there's a disconnect there from... Not just from, like, the player standpoint, but also, like, from the dev standpoint. Like, I don't think that they should be even... Like, they shouldn't be listening to such a small portion of the audience that it takes away from the bigger group. And it's like, well, why? It doesn't affect them. You know, why would it affect me as somebody who's a group player that's somebody can do stuff solo? Well, it does. And the reason it does is because whenever somebody is doing stuff solo that and getting the same rewards for me for having to play with other people and stuff, and sure, I enjoy it more or whatever, and it's like, oh, you have the option. I mean, just do it solo then. Well, it's you have this like dichotomy of having fun versus optimizing and min-maxing. And in a game like WoW, or really any MMO, any RPG, a big part of playing RPGs is min-maxing. Like, people complain about like the min-max mentality and the min-maxing culture and stuff like that, but that's just a lot of what it is. That's kind of just the game, you know? Minority of players ruins for the rest of us. Yeah, like, it ends up taking away from people. Like, things don't feel special a lot of times in WoW, and I think a big part of that is because of it's because of like the ease of access, the low barrier of entry to some of the content, you know? There's never been a situation where solo players can get the same rewards as organized groups, though. So to clarify what I'm saying, a lot of like the rewards aren't always like tangible, you know. Rewards aren't always tangible, and this is maybe more of an opinion than a fact. But I feel like a reward, part of the reward of playing the game, killing bosses is such a given now, especially in Classic WoW. Killing bosses is such a given that people will take it for granted. They just expect it to happen. But if the content is difficult enough, then it should be a reward to even get to go to the raid. Going to the raid should be a reward. Killing a boss should be a reward. Clearing the raid should be a reward in and of itself. It's an intangible reward, but it's a reward. It's something that feels good. It's something that, hey, we did it. We did it together, guys. So in things like, I'm going to use LFR as an example, you get to see all the content without, you know, needing a guild, without needing to even make a pug. You can press a button and you just kind of get to have everything handed to you. It's I don't think it's particularly good, personally. How do I do this?
Open your heart to the light.
There we go. Anyway.
Or meeting, you know, that set of friends that you start running dungeons with, or you start doing a raid with, and enjoying some of that group content that we've created. Those are some of the best moments in the game. I remember it was Christmas a few years back when we had the hive mind, you know, mount. It was this crazy set of things that you had to do to.
You say bad take, but why is that a bad take? Why is it bad that I think that it should be? Like, it shouldn't be a given that every single player who plays the game should get to kill every boss in a raid in LFR. Like, I feel like if you look back years and years ago, and this is coming from somebody who's played Vanilla WoW basically since it launched, getting to go to AQ40, getting to go to Nax, getting to see some of these raids was so special. Now, especially back then where you didn't have YouTube, and we did have YouTube, but it wasn't very big. You didn't have Twitch. You didn't have a lot of this stuff. So this access to being able to even see the content. Like, for me, like, you would hear about Nax. Like, Nax was something that was just legendary. Like, no, what's even in there? Who knows? What does Kel'Thuzad look like? What is this? You just had no idea. Like, it was super, super special. Now, obviously, you'll get to see this stuff now. Actually, like, physically get to see this stuff through videos. But I do think for a lot of people who are just interested in doing the content, it really makes it not that special to now it is special, don't get me wrong, don't get your panties in a bunch because I'm saying it's not that special to clear the raid, because it is special to clear the raid on like Mythic or what. Like, Mythic raiding is incredibly difficult and it's super hard, but I'm talking about the intangible feeling of even getting to see something. There's like a psychology there where you don't even get to they're like the psychology of even like not being able to see it because you're not good enough and you have to get better and you have to work harder to be able to kill a boss is a huge deal, I think. Psychology, I do think it's a big part of the psychology of the game. You're arguing nostalgia of the old versus given to the new. No. That's not what I'm saying. You're not listening to what I'm saying. What I'm talking about is in that moment, the feeling of not being able to even see the content on my own because I wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? That made it that much more impressive and that much cooler for the people that were able to do it. It's an easy way to lose players. Then how come WoW wasn't losing players in the first like 4 or 5 years of it coming out? It wasn't really losing players until Wrath of the Lich King is whenever it slowed down. And then it started losing in Cato. It was new? I don't think it was new anymore. I think it was new in vanilla. It wasn't really new in Burning Crusade anymore. It definitely wasn't new in Wrath. I mean, you think about it. At that point, the game's like 5-6 years old. And I know there's like Mythic only phases, like Secret Phase in Mythic, or I get that, but it doesn't matter because you still get to see the boss. You get to see what the boss looks like. You get to see what the raid looks like by just queuing LFR. I kind of feel like it's another climate with easy access to all the content with YouTube and such. Maybe, but I think it would. I mean, I think it would make that content more popular on YouTube because it would be more special, right? It would be more. Oh, not many people have done this. I can't just like queue it up and go see it. You know. Final Fantasy 11 had really rare items that were a bitch to get. I love that back in the day. Simple. When you can't achieve something on your own, it drives you to want it more. Meaning, when you then accomplish with help from others, you appreciate more. It's impossible to have that experience doing a solo. Yeah. So what you just said hits the nail on the head with how I feel about like LFR. I think I'm a big believer in that. At most, there should be 2 difficulties for raids, and I would prefer there to be 1. It's a huge level of entitlement in games. Immediate gratification. MMOs ruined it. It's pay to enjoy now. Kind of. These paragraphs. Thank God somebody's talking. Because of another 10 levels, upgrading all your gear over without real accomplishment became boring and repetitive. That's not what we're talking about. So there has to be a middle ground. Gaming has changed. People don't have the time to find guilds. If playing as a group is the ideal experience, Blizzard has to put effort into finding like-minded players easier. You know how I feel? I feel like people say they don't have time nowadays to do X, Y, Z. I look back on it now, and I'm thinking, how did I have time back in the day to do all those things? And why are people complaining about it now? Like, obviously, I'm a streamer, so I have a very busy schedule, but it's also very malleable. But I think about before I started streaming, and whenever I was doing a bunch of other stuff, whenever I was working and this and that. Now, I was very busy. I worked in Division I college football, and that's also just like streaming an 18-hour-a-day job. But I feel like I have more freedom with my time depending on what job I have as I'm older now, or as I get older, as opposed to being in high school and playing sports. So why is it that people complain about that so much? I think it's just people are old. Esfand bro, what are your tags right now? Oh, I was making a meme out of it. Because look, we're hurting bad, dude. It's F. We're miserable out here. Powerhouse TKO, thank you for the prime. Grandmaster Debater, thank you for the two years. Star Siege, 44 months. Carson Jams, thank you for the 15 months. I get tired of agreeing how to make the game perfect. I enjoy vanilla. I'm okay with people disagreeing. I like hard, realistic, artistic, deep games that are almost unfinishable and too much to explore. I'm big on exploring. Yeah. Retaining the same players probably means that most of these players 15 years later do not have the same amount of time available. Yeah, I mean, that's probably fair. But what I'm saying is more of like a thought. Colonel James saved. Did he get saved? Oh my gosh. I just killed this thing and I didn't even do the quest out because I was in a rant. Yeah. But yeah, what I was saying was basically, it's more of like a thought experiment. Like, why do I feel like I have, like, how did I have time back then, I guess is really what it's coming down to. Grinding the same raid with multiple difficulties kind of sucks. Yeah. People complain about not having time while binge watching hundreds of hours of Netflix. True. Yeah, true. Wait, how did I not complete this quest? There wasn't Netflix during BC, so now people don't have as much time. Dude, what is good on Netflix anyway? They got rid of The Office and they got rid of Always Sunny. So like what? All you got left is Arrested Development. What else is there to watch on Netflix? Oh, they did add Seinfeld, true. Never mind. Hey, you know what though? You know what I saw? I saw this cartoon on Netflix. Inside Job. This cartoon called Inside Job. I was watching it. It's actually, I thought it was really funny. Have any of you guys watched it? It's like a cartoon for adults. I hate the art style, really. I actually really liked, I really liked Inside Job.
Warm wishes to you.
How do I, why can't I complete this quest?
Each day is a blessing. The Naru have not forgotten us.
Oh, BoJack Horseman. I never watched it. People said that one was really good. Dark Omens, thank you for the 21 months.
May the light embrace you. You have other matters to attend to, yes?
The power of the light compels you. Back to your pit. Diaper Poop. This guy's name is Diaper Poop. Is this gonna ruin the quest if I invite him?
Even the patience of the Draenei has its limits.
Okay, well, I got credit now. Why did it not give me credit the first time? Because I didn't use the item?
Unlock it.
Anyway, let's continue
and I did
the video.
this with a completely random set of people. You know, 4 people I didn't even know. We went through all of it. I had all the monocles. We got this thing, and we were all like high-fiving each other. And I I got to put them on my friends list. And I actually kept in contact with the one for a couple months after that.
Yeah.
But those moments are so cool. And I think, you know, we try to have experiences like that, you know, where you no pressure, you can play by yourself if you want to. And I think there's something actually kind of comforting knowing that while I'm wandering around doing my solo thing, you know, working on one of my alts or whatever, that there's thousands of other people around there, you know, and I can see them doing their
Fumbly
thing.
Finger, thank you for the tier 1.
And I think that's a really fun part of the game. It reminds me that I'm not just doing this all by myself.
Like I said before, what does it mean for Azeroth to feel alive, you know, day to day, week to week, and ongoing? And how do we evolve that? And to me, you know, I geek out, we all geek out about all this stuff about how do we evolve? We are committed to WoW evolving and delivering more for players and being mindful of the community. So when you're talking about how gamers have changed, we have people like you, people that we are a living, breathing community, not just in Azeroth, but outside it as well. And really, you know, advancing our thinking about what does it mean for all of us as a community around World of Warcraft. So we're thinking really big, you know, and then also, you know, what's going to bring players along, you know, week to week, month to month, and make sure that, you know, we're serving our community who want to live there.
This is why this trip is so important. Sitting down with these guys, finding out how Classic came about and how it's going to influence Dragonflight, so amazing. But one of the things I'm worried about with coming here is I actually don't know how everybody plays World of Warcraft. I think back to my day to day, from vanilla all the way up until the end, and the sheer amount of mandatory content that has been added to the game over the years has just grown exponentially, including several systems which are just infinite in time. Now, of course, mandatory is a subjective thing. If you break it down, everything is optional. But But if you wanted a character wearing the current gear, the latest legendaries, whatever it might be, your commitment to the game has massively increased. Even doing content that perhaps you don't like simply because you have to. Torghast would be a great example of that. But the thing is, I actually don't know whether people like doing that. Nobody does except them. So let's sit down with Ian and try and find out how people spend their time in Azeroth. But I know how you guys spend your time, and that's by picking up a display. Display are proudly sponsoring this video so we could take all our equipment, pack up our stuff, and fly across the world in order to speak to Blizzard on your behalf. If you like this and you want to see more of this, especially check out part 2 of this video where we're going to be looking at how World of Warcraft is made, then why not consider picking up a display? And using our link down below, you can, you serve seconds to talk to as well.
To be honest, chat.
Now let's talk to Ian. I mean, you serve so many different player types, right? I mean, I'm not sure how your metrics work, but one of the questions
Display has like cool designs.
I think it's
but
really tough.
They just fall off the wall super easily.
And you're not just a content creator, but you're anybody.
Like all of us got a bunch of displays at one point, and then they just kept falling.
Horrific.
But like not for a while. Like after like months, they started to fall.
This is what the vast majority likes. What do people actually do in the game? Because you know, we don't know.
I mean, everything. Honestly, I mean, I think that's one of the quirks of WoW. It's part of the magic of WoW. It's part of what makes designing for WoW really challenging at times. I think you could take a dozen people, all of whom would say WoW is their primary game. It's one of their favorite games, the game they play a ton. You could sit them around a table and have them talk about what they do in the game and why they like it. And it could sound like they're describing 12 different games or experiences that would be foreign to the others. It really is everything from the, completionist solo collector to the casual PvPer who just queues Battlegrounds all weekend, to the hardcore PvPer who wants to push high rating, to the Mythic Plus focused player, to the casual raider, to the hardcore raider, to everything in between. And then all the different Venn diagram overlaps. And all of those people are World of Warcraft players.
Yeah.
And it's and I think the world is, again, as I said earlier, richer because it has all of them in it. But a challenge is, there is no majority, so to speak. It's a collection of many minorities, each of whom have different and sometimes competing interests.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the challenge when it comes to listening, addressing feedback. I think, often the two are a little bit conflated, where hearing feedback should mean, in the eyes of players, and understandably so, well, do what I say. I told you I don't like this. We told you we don't like this. And you didn't change it, therefore you're clearly not listening.
Especially if that person believes they're a reasonable person. I'm a reasonable person, and I think you're incorrect, so...
And they are, and they are a reasonable person. And I think it's totally reasonable to want to advocate for the game that you want to play and the play style that you favor. And it's our job to take everybody's concerns into account. It's not a player's concern to take other people's happiness into their account when playing a game. They just want what's going to make it the most fun for them. And so, I think the challenge comes where sometimes those desires are directly conflicting. Where,
You got an example?
Yeah, I mean, I think rewards are a clear case.
I'd love to get into this with you.
Yeah, right. It's basically the people who want to do a thing and don't see any value in it and want it to be more rewarding, versus the people who don't want to be forced to do the thing and want it to stay not rewarding at all. Or, should PvE gear have any place in PvP, or vice versa? And to some extent, like we can continue to separate out.
I hate the idea that PvP gear should only be PvP and PvE gear should only be PvE. I think the way that it's done in Vanilla and Burning Crusade is superior.
Retail WoW. In all seriousness, I hope you and Bonnie have fun playing it. EsfandTV.
Hackerman Putin, thank you for the 20 months. Thank you, man. Like, I think the idea of like, if you're a PvPer, I feel like you should be able to get to like 95%, maybe 95% of like your maximum power, player power. But to really get as strong as you possibly can, I think to be good at both parts of the game is ideal. I'm a big believer in playing MMOs as a whole game. PvP, PvE, doing everything. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think that is the way MMOs should be played. They should be played holistically. Like, you play the whole game. But if you only do one thing in the game, you shouldn't be able to be as strong as your character possibly can be. That's how I feel. Now, the problem is, I feel like over the years in retail WoW, I feel like they can't balance it right to where PvE gear is able to be used in PvP without it just either snowballing out, usually without it snowballing out of control and it being impossible to balance. But I feel like that's the game's, that's not the design, that's not the fault of the concept of doing that. It's the fault of the design of the game. Like, it's the game's fault that they're doing that. In a perfect world, in an ideal situation, then it would be best to have to be good at both parts of the game in order to be as strong as you can. You want PvE to work in PvE? You want PvE to work in PvP? What do you mean? PvP is one gigantic exploit abuse challenge. Not sure that gear should be as good as PvE gear in PvE. No, it's not. What? Question mark? What do you mean? What if everyone was just nude? No, I think you should have to play the game nude in real life. PvE items ruin PvP. They don't, though. Not if the game's balanced right. The problem is it's not balanced right in retail at all. But it's, I think, as far as like what an RPG is, truly what an RPG is, I think it is the best design to be able to properly implement a way to where your character is as strong as possible by doing both PvP and PvE. That's what I think. But it's not like that. I'm just talking about an ideal design.
Out the ecosystems to solve these problems. We can say there's no crossover whatsoever, and you're basically playing a completely different game if you're doing
PvP
this
items don't
activity
have to
versus
ruin
that
PvP.
activity.
Yeah, exactly. They don't have to ruin PvP. I feel like anybody who's arguing that PvE items ruin PvP, like, you're not able to wrap your mind around what I'm saying. Like, you have to get past like your own experience of what has happened, which is like a poor implementation of it. I'm talking about an ideal world, not this is how it should be regardless, or like with the current implementation.
Or to the extent that there's crossover, there's going to be some people who would prefer it weren't that way.
For sure, because I mean, one of the most common things, and I'm guilty of this, and what I could also honestly say after now we're here is, I definitely got to the point where I was so immersed in it and not happy that I definitely went overboard with where I was, which I think is the place you end up with because of a business relation. It's like, ordinarily I just put the game down. I don't know whether it's an internal pressure, and I kind of think this goes back all the way to Naxxramas, the original one, where it's like, we've invested time and money into this content, but if we don't make them go, they're not going to go. And is that something that's a very real thing?
I think it is a real thing. I think make is maybe too strong a word, but if we don't incentivize it, if we don't make it feel like you are progressing in some way as a result of it, then yeah, people probably won't do it. But I think if we made a zone full of awesome quests that literally offered no rewards, it's a hypothetical, right? No experience, no gold, no items, nothing at all, but it's really cool content, most people wouldn't touch it. People who did might touch it once. And that's not to say that, you know, the people who would do it if you're doing it to level, who would do it if you're doing it to get a professional recipe, to whatever, are going to dislike it as a result. But at the end of the day, it is a game that, as part of just the core RPG progression, you have a lot of goals, you're making your numbers go up, you're trying to overcome challenges, you're choosing how to spend your often limited time these days wisely, and you're going to spend that time doing things that are getting you closer to your goals. Maybe like at the end of an expansion when you have no more other goals left, you might go back and chase cosmetics or do things that, you know, you haven't had a chance to just for completionist's sake. But those feel like lost opportunities when there's something out there that has potential that's just underutilized.
Yeah, so where do you draw the line then in being incentivizing it via power? So, you know, it's Torghast throwing the legendary requirement into there, versus this gives you a cool mount. Do you see a distinct difference in participation? Because it's like, oh, they'll just look at it. And I guess a good example of this would actually be challenge modes. And I don't know if you know the participation rates there, which were purely cosmetic rewards, right? That's all that challenge modes gave you, was just a transmog. And did that come across as perhaps a failure? Because not enough people did it?
I don't think challenge modes were a failure, no. Their participation was overall quite low. It got a bit better. I want to say, if I remember, towards the end of Mists, I think we added a decent chunk of Valor for doing challenge mode runs that helped, like, it helped justify it to people who were just looking to cap their Valor for the week. They could at least work towards something else at the same time. But it wasn't seen as a failure because I think it also, as someone who worked very directly on challenge modes, 10 years ago, it wasn't 30 people laboring to make this thing. It was let's try an extra difficulty. Let's add an extra overlay on the content we're already making. And for the people who got a lot of value out of it, and a lot of enjoyment out of it, that felt well worth what we put into it. But I think, yeah, you're correct. When we're looking at a major expansion feature like a Torghast, if that were only used by as many people as did missed challenge modes, that would have been seen as a significant failure. It's like we put a ton of time, design resources, engineering, art, iteration into this. If only 8% of our players did it, well then we should really, we should have just put those resources into something else that 90% of our players were going to do, because we would have made more of our players happy. At the end of the day, like that's the challenge we're trying to solve. It's we have a finite team, even as we grow, even as we hire, we have this many person hours of work that can be done this year. How do we deploy those? How do we allocate those in the way that's going to make the most fun for the most players?
Well, one of the things in Dragonflight that's changing is because obviously part of what I would consider the failure of Torghast is that people felt. I know that one of the reasons I stopped playing was I'd log on to my alt, and it was like, okay, I kind of need to farm a legendary, I kind of need to conduits, I kind of need to do this. And as somebody, as I'm sure you're aware, I was a huge champion of Torghast. Like I had a great interview with Morgan about Torghast, and then a lot of it changed. And I was like, this is just killing my soul. It made me very unhappy. It's like, where do you then, is that just a case of looking at alt friendliness for that? Or is this in Dragonflight where you actually completely smash this out of the park?
Go time.
It's there's a few pieces to that. I think even aside from alt friendliness, which was clearly an issue there, I think that the mandatory weekly,
thank you, Raging Reaper,
the feeling that you have to do this basically every week, essentially forever. And if you miss a week, you're falling behind. And if you put it off,
Torghast made me like,
that's something that got us thinking a lot about just the player psychology of how people approach mandatory things.
Yeah, see, player psychology is like a huge deal whenever you're talking about game design. How many of you guys quit because you fell behind on Torghast in Shadowlands? Yeah, basically Diehead. I remember the first week that I missed a Torghast for some reason. I don't remember what happened. I missed a Torghast. My interest immediately just dropped in playing Shadowlands. I was like, okay, well, now I'm behind. Were you able to get drops and pet enabled? I was actually. But yeah. Now I think Torghast was actually super fun on its own. Like if you were to just take Torghast for what it is, it was really, really fun content. But the how it was implemented, I think, was really, really piss poor.
Things with expiration date, perceived chores, like that feeling of.
How can you fall behind in a week? So here's what happened. Now this is kind of like, you can say this is stupid, like min-maxi mentality, whatever. But what happened was because I missed 1 week, I was not going to get my legendaries. I didn't get to. I wasn't going to get my legendaries at the same time other people were going to get their legendaries. And because of that, I ended up just being like, well, F this. Because then I can't compete now. So I was like, what's the point? But I mean, my interest was already waning to begin with. And that was kind of like, okay, well, there you go.
Maybe it's Monday or it's Tuesday if you're in Europe. And
Wednesday.
the last day of the week is what I'm talking about.
Oh,
so
okay,
Tuesday,
okay.
if you're in
Tuesday,
Europe,
yeah, all right.
you had a long day at work, then you went out for dinner with your friends, with your loved ones, whatever. You come home, you're exhausted, and you realize like, oh crap, I haven't done my Torghast run
Been
for
there
the
many
week.
times.
Exactly. Does that make you feel good about World of Warcraft in that moment?
No.
Absolutely not. And so, why are we doing that to people? And there's a lot of ways around that. There's, it's catch-up mechanisms so that, if you knew that if you missed it this week, you could just catch up and do 2 next week or whatever, suddenly the psychology is very different. If there's more flexibility and, you can do multiple weeks in a row, or if there's just if it's less of an exclusive reward that only comes from this one source.
Now, they did that with
Now suddenly
Torghast
it's fine.
eventually,
Yeah, you're
right?
tired tonight, you had fun doing other things, you don't have to log in when you don't want to. But in any case, getting back to Torghast, I think, yeah, it was gameplay that was kind of forced to overstay its welcome in a lot of ways because it became something that you had to keep doing for as long as people did. Something that we've tried to pivot to, and I know you mentioned you didn't personally jump in and do Zereth Mortis, but part of how we approached the activities there, the Cypher system, the reputations, the outdoor loop, was basically we're going to give you a couple of weeks of the first couple of weeks. We're going to say, here's frankly a carrot that everyone's going to want. You want to get your second legendary. You want the ability to craft your Unity legendary. That's the second one that you can equip. Doing that's going to take you a couple of weeks of checking out the content. Past that, everything is 100% optional, but you've seen it all. And you can decide whether you like it or not. And if you like it, you've gotten a taste and you can keep going. And if you don't, cool, just never go back. You can ignore it and focus on Mythic Plus, raids, whatever else. It's a little bit of a middle ground between there being no mandatory power at all, where a lot of people who might have enjoyed the content will never even give it a chance because they're like, well, why am I going to do that? It doesn't give me anything. Or obviously the opposite end of the spectrum where it just becomes an endless thing that you have to keep doing.
You've taken a pretty hard stance at this. For my playtesting of Dragonflight, this has now become almost a core value of Blizzard going forward, or seemingly, but obviously we're here to talk about it today. It's
Seemingly.
like, just no more of that. No more mandatory stuff. And is there like an internal fear then? It's like, are we making stuff now that people aren't going to check out? And are we actually okay with that? Because a lot of games now are going with a more drop-in, drop-out style, and they're still maintaining a sub. Is that something, I mean, this is a risky move you're making in Dragonflight, I think, internally.
I think, so the concept of mandatory, I do think only applies to a certain portion of the player base. I think it's certainly, high-end competitive players, if there's any advantage that they can get, they have to get it. Well understood. But I think some of what we're also moving away from that lets us, like systems like Renown or Outdoor World Loop, they have powerful rewards from them. You can make, this profession crafting reagents at the end of a Renown tracks that will let you make 402 plus gear that is heroic raid quality. There are other, profession recipes and other things that people will look at and want. But the Mythic Raider who's looking to, push for the Hall of Fame isn't going to look at any of those things and say, oh no, this stuff I need from this that I can't get elsewhere, therefore I have to do it.
Yeah.
And some of that is just a product of moving away from the auxiliaries, so-called borrowed power alternate advancement systems that we had in the last few expansions. Item level is kind of the simple universal reward. Item level is power, but it's fungible. You can get it from other sources, and it's only as valuable as
NFTs?
how it compares to the other stuff you have access to, as opposed to
NFT
power,
game?
essences for your Heart of Azeroth, conduits, all those other things, where it didn't matter how high your eye level was from other content, you had to do this because it was additive.
Mm-hmm. But they were great things, though. Like, it was always the acquisition that was the problem. Like, the actual result, great. I just don't want to farm 50,000 honor in Battlegrounds. Like, the actual system itself. And Azerite Armor in particular is one that I'm deeply upset about. Because I genuinely thought item level is something, and again, it's personal bias, I have no issue with Mr. Does his World Quest having the same item level as Mythic Raider. But Azerite Armor seemed to perhaps open the door to be like, well, we can tailor this now to world questing and your experience. We can do it for PvP. We can do it for Mythic Plus, make 5 mana more fun things. It didn't go that way, unfortunately. It was kind of the set bonuses throughout there. But now you are upping the rewards from Mythic Plus, giving those guys natural appeasing people like JB, so you can actually stop raiding for the most part. And is that something that's also changing long term, or is there still an idea of if you're not raiding or doing high in Mythic Plus or high in PvP, you should still be a bit lower?
I think there's definitely a little bit of still a spectrum there. Eye level, is if you want 415, 421 type gear in Dragonflight, you're going to need to do high-end PvP, high-end raiding, high-end Mythic Plus.
Mm-hmm.
We do want outdoor play and certainly professions to be able to push farther into that track than they ever have before. I think at times in the past it's felt like if you were a solo player, well, you kind of capped out at maybe you can get a couple of normal mode raid pieces, and otherwise you were like 30 eye levels behind the Mythic Raider. That's, I think, too large a gap, and something we'd like to close.
True.
And that's really getting back to some of the earlier conversation about player groups and silent majorities and so forth. We do feel like we have underserved the just solo outdoor focused player who chooses to spend tons and tons of time in World of Warcraft over the years, and they care about progression too.
Yep.
And I think it's often inaccurate to just assume, oh, well, because you're not trying to push high keys, why do you even need item level?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people want the number to go up.
Speaking to Ian this time really opened my eyes to some things, and probably something that you guys have been guilty of as much as me. Why don't the devs listen to us? I spent months, years of my life shouting from the rooftops about things that I considered to be obvious problems, and in many cases did turn out to be. So why is that not getting back to them? Well, it turns out it is. A lot more than you guys probably realize. I spent the entire week with the communications team. Those were the guys who were guiding us around, and they were absolutely incredible. But one of the things they really stressed to us is how much, on a weekly basis, they gather as much information as possible from the community, reading forums, subreddits, everything, watching videos, and feed that back directly to the people in charge. Some of you might scoff that no, they don't, but to clarify this, we spoke to Josh Allen, aka Law. He was with Blizzard for 9 years on the communication team itself, has no reason to lie, and the only reason he left Blizzard was because such a large advancement in his career came up elsewhere. Well, that's one thing we
like
learned
that.
from the current community manager team is like, I was like, what is your day-to-day job then? And we're like, well, we get like the patch notes and we sift through those things that are relevant because a lot of them are like bullshit data side things that nobody cares about. And then we put them out to the public. But another part of it is we basically read forums a lot and we gather all that feedback and then we present that to the
chat is
people
Josh
to say,
Allen
this
from
is
the
kind of
Bills.
community feel right now. Did you feel like you had to filter that for like what's relevant, what's not?
Yeah, I mean, there was a significant portion of my time at Blizzard where developer communications.
Josh
was
Allen
my
works
job.
at Laura works at TikTok
And
now.
then my job got reconfigured into being more influencer focused, and everyone was like, "Why does Lore hate us now? He doesn't talk on the forums anymore." I'm like, "Well, yes, that's because it's not my job anymore. I'm no longer doing that specific task. There are other people doing that task. Go listen to them." Yeah, there was a lot of that general job and position is not even so much filtering.
he
as,
streams.
I guess
He plays
distilling
no
is
pixel.
how I would put it.
Make sure it goes to the right place.
Yeah, make sure it goes to the right place. Make sure that
Calls the right plays.
because a lot of times people will say one thing and what they actually mean is kind of something else. Like they still mean what they say, obviously, but if it's like, wow, I really hate, like Torghast was a great example where people were like, they really, really loved Torghast in early beta. And then when it came out, they were like, wow, I hate Torghast so much. And the takeaway from that was, okay, what changed? And what changed was rewards were added to it. And so then it became a
Both,
task.
right? They took rewards out because they had gear and stuff in it originally. It was
Yeah.
it got silly. They took all that out and then they just made you do it for legendaries, which was a
Yes.
complete like 180 on what it originally was.
That's what I mean, though. Is like it's the sort of thing where if Torghast had just remained as like a fun thing that you could go do when you felt like it, I think a lot of people would have enjoyed it because they didn't feel obligated to do it.
Yeah,
But
I
as soon
think
as
so
you had that
too. I 100%
obligation,
agree with that.
that
100%
was the
agree with
point
that.
Where it became a chore for people, and it became Torghast at that point. And so that was the sort of thing that like we would look at. That
I've said this. I said this from the beginning.
Everyone's saying they don't.
Torghast
like
was one of my favorite things about
but the majority
Shadowlands.
of
If you
the
were to look
reason
at it
you
on
can
its
tell from
own,
reading
but
all these different
the way it
things
was
and,
implemented
like,
was
obviously
ass.
there's a variety of opinions as well. So it's always a matter of like what are the biggest pain points to be discovered? Because like occasionally there were some people just like, I don't like the way the Ghost Boys look. I'm like, okay, well that's valid opinion. You're allowed
Yes.
to not like the Ghosty Boys, but that's not what I'm going to take to the development team as like a priority issue that needs fixing.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean by like sometimes people are saying they just say they hate something, and you have to spend some time figuring out, okay, why do they hate this?
Yeah.
What about it is
I mean,
the
it's no
actual
different
problem?
than YouTube comments. It's like, I fucking hate the sound of his voice. Okay, do you hate my accent? Do you hate the microphone I'm using?
Yeah.
Am I too loud? Am I not normalized properly? Like, try to figure it out, or is it just, you just hate the sound of my
It's
voice?
actually your face. So.
Yeah, which is odd because they specifically said my voice. but now I see in the mirror, it's probably that. But most of the feedback does get back to the guys, to the developers, which, obviously one of the biggest complaints in the WoW community is, like, they're not listening to us. You know, I've been bitching about this nobody knows better than me is how much I bitched about some of the things in Shadowlands. But they do generally get most of the stuff there, which is surprising when you find out. It's like, yeah, they do. They kind of do.
Yeah, if people are, especially once a point becomes like, well, everyone knows that no one likes this thing. It's like, well, yes, everyone also includes the development team by this point. You can be fairly confident in that. And a lot of times, then the job actually, it gets interesting because a lot of times then the job becomes, okay, what are the other things? Because everyone's talking about this one thing that's really upsetting everyone right now. I don't need to tell the development team for the 30th time that people want to be able to switch between covenants. Like, they know that. I don't need to tell them that again. So what are the other topics that are going on in the community that they're not aware of because everyone's so busy focused talking about this thing? And so making sure that those other bits of feedback and those other smaller conversations still make it to the development team. And that's not like trying to like distract them from the more important conversation or anything. It's just that work doesn't need to be done. But yeah, like, so a lot of time there's been cases in the past where it's like, okay, the team would learn about what the features were in the upcoming expansion, and I would be like, okay,
The classic? Yeah, I'm leveling in classic while we're waiting for retail.
Everyone's going to hate. Like, I can tell already what's going on here is people are going to be very upset about this.
So like me with Covenants. I mean, I knew in 2 minutes it was like, this is a bad idea.
Yeah. Covenants was a weird one just because I did not fully understand what it was for a while. Because like, imagine Covenants ended up being a pretty convoluted, especially with like you add in soulbinds and everything as well. Ended up being a pretty complicated and convoluted system. Imagine if none of that work had been done yet and someone was just trying to vaguely describe what it was going to be to you. That was the state that I was receiving this information in. So I was like, I don't understand it yet.
At BlizzCon,
I don't know what
right?
it is.
They were announced, and we were like, we all fill in the gaps ourselves.
Yeah.
Right, that's what happens. And I came up with a really thorough RPG storytelling thing and all this, and like, I was like, these are going to be awesome.
That's one of my favorite like pitfalls that I try to warn people about with like every job that I've had and every announcement that I've been a part of is like, please be sure you're ready to talk about something in a complete sense before you start talking about it. Because if you just throw out like a vague idea of like, here's what this is going to be, we have this idea to build something that's kind of like this, they will fill in the blanks. And they will either, if they're feeling negative, they will fill in the blanks with all negative things about how this is going to be the worst thing that they've ever experienced, and thus they will hate your thing before you've even made it. Or they will build it up to be this amazing, like huge, groundbreaking thing like Island Expeditions. This happened with Island Expeditions in BFA, where everyone was like, oh my God, we're going to go to all these islands, and it's going to be like this really cool, like, PvE, but kind of PvP-ish sort of thing, and it's going to be great.
Dude, islands are such a disappointment, man.
Finding all this cool stuff, and then we're like, wait, this is just a thing that you queue for that's like,
it gives you artifact power really quick.
It's just scenarios again, like.
Yeah, kind of. And they've sold that.
Such a
I think Garrisons
man.
is probably the worst situation ever.
Garrisons too, dude.
Garrisons are like,
oh
you're gonna get to build it. And immediately,
man, I'm starting to remember all the disappointments.
I'm gonna get to customize this shit. I'm gonna, like, as an old school classic raider, I'm gonna have like Nixia and Nefarian's heads like facing each other, and then I'm gonna be able to have the tail around the building.
That's what I thought.
And then when we got it was like, well,
dude, I thought it was gonna be like WoW. Like Dark Age of Camelot housing. Why could they not put essentially Dark Age of Camelot housing in this game, where you would go and kill? Like, dude, imagine a world where you go and you kill a boss, and when you kill a boss, it drops remains. And then you go and you take those remains to a taxidermist. There's one set of remains per boss that drops. And every week, you have that one reset. Every week, there is one remains. So one person in your raid group gets remains, and then you can go to the taxidermist, get it made into a trophy, and then you can display it in your house. How cool would that have been? Like, to me, I think that would have been absolutely incredible.
well, somebody has a stable
display their corpse, yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the limit of your customization that you're gonna get.
Yeah, that's also why I think it's important to like have started building something before you start talking about it too much. Like, just the nature of software and game development, especially at on a team the size of the World of Warcraft team, means that until you've built most of it, you kind of don't know what it is yet.
So now we know. Our feedback on streams, forums, YouTube, whatever, it all gets back to the devs on a pretty much weekly basis. And we're going to hear far more from Josh in his own interview we'll be uploading a little bit after this goes out. I found out why things don't change. Because you guys probably have the same question, right? We're moaning about it, we're complaining about it. Why is this feature not being iterated on, developed in some way? Suggestions we're putting forward not happening. This is when I learned about modular design. Modular design is a system that's been in place for a really long time and is going to be changing. In order to find out more about this idea, we're not only going to sit down with Ian again, but we're going to sit down with Tina Wang, who's the Associate Art Director of World of Warcraft, and Morgan Day, the Associate Game Director. Over the years, you guys have fell into a habit of almost cannibalizing your own game with every patch.
Yeah.
Which felt very wasteful. Like, I can't imagine the R&D that went into some of these systems. Dungeons, I mean, if you go back to Kata, it was like, and Wrath. Every time the TOC came out, right, every other dungeon's irrelevant now. No point in doing it. And the same with raids, and obviously there's arguments to and for linear raids. But Season 4, you've started to maybe consider, we've actually seen this happen in a number of other MMOs recently, certainly the ones that are a decade plus, where they're like, we have a wealth of content that we've created over these years, and we've just left it. There definitely seems to have been a lack of iteration in Blizzard. Like Garrisons. Garrisons are remembered not fondly, unfortunately, but the premise is really good. It's just people like maybe a more cosmetic style than a practical solution. Warfronts. How excited was the player base when Warfronts were announced? And unfortunately, it didn't go that way. The same with Island Expeditions. You know, we all watched the Sneaky Pete promise, and you're going to hate these guys, and they're going to interfere with you and stuff. And then part of the mandatory element was there. But we can reel a list off here of huge systems, huge resources that are brought into the game, which have been left to like, okay, and class halls I would definitely put in here, which feel like such a waste. And what is the thoughts there now for like over the next few years is to change that instead of reinventing the wheel every expansion?
Yeah, I think, I mean, so there's a couple of pieces to that. Some of that is definitely the move away from, you know, expansion-specific systems that also could turn into borrowed whatever because they were going to go away, back to evergreen improvements. I think, broadly speaking, I think you could almost carve out 3 eras of World of Warcraft philosophy and development. And I would say that the first era was from Classic all the way through Mists of Pandaria, where every expansion was adding extra layers, extra systems, new professions, new races, new classes, new things. And then we kind of reached, as we were coming up on almost 10 years at that point, a turning point, arguably a little bit of a crisis, as we were coming off like 2 expansions in a row. We'd had like 12 to 13 month final tiers, and just looking at like this infinite scalability, like this infinite exponential growth of like what it takes to make an expansion, both in terms of development, but also player-facing complexity of like, how many systems do we have now? How just complicated is the game becoming? We're going to keep running this game for years and years and decades to come. Can we really just keep adding new permanent systems every couple of years forever? No. And so I think, you know, that's what led to some of the class pruning philosophy that led into Warlords. It's what led it to kind of pulling back in some areas, but also the idea that we needed to be able to make things that were not permanent, that we could go deeper, focus them on a single expansion, have them be the hallmark of that expansion, but they weren't going to add to the ongoing complexity. That was, and so I think that was going into Warlords, and I think, as you mentioned, there were definitely some missteps with the garrisons. Yeah. But I think, you know, moving ahead into Legion, it was like, well, okay, obviously we don't want something that pulls you out of the world. The class hall in some loose ways with the mission table, with some of the trappings and customization, is a little bit of a successor to the garrison system. We want it to be a social space where you see all the other people of your class. And of course, that's where we also brought in, you know, a power component to it, artifact power, and all those systems. And it's important to bear in mind that
Gradius, thank you for the 2, 3, 4, 3 months. Thank you, dude.
A couple of expansions in advance. The development cycle of an expansion is quite lengthy, from initial conception to pre-production, concepting, beginning to flesh things out.
Class halls were
so
pretty
we
cool.
Had, you know, we knew what the feature set for Shadowlands was going to be well before Battle for Azeroth came out.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that was the ongoing outgrowth of like what seemed like a very successful experiment at Legion. Legion was very well received overall, very popular overall. People had nothing but praise for its systems, and so part of what, you know, the team as a whole was thinking was like, okay, this is a great formula for a modern expansion. That
I see the thought process now.
What is our artifacts of the next expansion? What are the things that are going to fill these holes that we're going to leave? Now, there were a few things that we were still blind to. You know, I think first off was the initial excitement of like, oh my God, I no matter how much WoW I want to play, I can always keep progressing my character. This is awesome. I can log in on Saturdays and feel like I accomplished something, as opposed to the raid logging people were accustomed to in Warlords. That was energizing initially, but gave way to fatigue by the end of Legion, as we started to hear, you know, complaints about AP grinding and the sense of like, okay, I can always be progressing my character. That means I always should be progressing my character. I don't have
so you're
time
talking
for
about
alts
the never-ending amount you can acquire.
Yes.
Versus one thing that took away in BFA was that anything you did gave you AP.
Yes, that continues. So I think, but I think again, a lot of the decisions about what BFA was going to look like were already almost completely locked in for all intents and purposes before we started learning lessons from Legion. And even, you know, even Shadowlands was beginning to respond to, well, what didn't work in BFA? What was missing from BFA?
Thanks, Oliver. Then I appreciate it, man.
What to the class halls be? What if there are
Thanks for stopping by, dude.
What if these are places that have more depth and interest to them than anything we offered in BFA? But it wasn't really until we were halfway through that cycle that we started to really have concerns about the shift that had begun all the way back in Warlords about the modular approach that would take things away, because people were not sad to say goodbye to their garrisons at the end of Warlords.
Shame, because if they've been iterated on, they were potentially something amazing.
Perhaps, but the feedback, right? So people didn't really appreciate the extent of that pain. When BFA came out, we certainly did.
Yep.
Losing your artifacts sucked. Leaving, having all your legendaries disabled the second you hit level 115 sucked.
Not a good day getting into that alpha.
And I think, but again, at that point, we were already heavily committed on the course we were on, because we just, at some point, we have to keep marching forward. We have to keep making stuff. We can't throw out a year of work. But we started to have misgivings about that general direction. And I think realizing that the cycle we're falling into is one where every expansion begins by losing something that was awesome, leaving a hole that we then, at best, are scrambling to fill.
True.
And leave you maybe equal to where you were before.
Right.
But if we screw up at all, lesser. That is not a path to success. And so that was the genesis for what I would like to think of as sort of the beginning of a third era of WoW philosophy, which begins with Dragonflight, which is trying to return to the idea of focused, evergreen things, improving baseline systems, introducing new systems into the game that we plan to carry forward.
It's taken them this many years to figure that out. That's been one of the core problems of WoW for years. It's they add a new expansion, they put in a bunch of shit. It's not good. They fix it by the end of the expansion. By the last patch, it's fixed. And then new expansion comes out, and they take everything and they just throw it in the trash, and then they throw a whole bunch of other crap out there. And then that stuff sucks, and then it's the cycle. And then they don't fix it until the last patch. So it's taken them all this time to figure that out. That's so dumb. That stuff, people have been saying this for years, that is an issue. Anyway.
Not introducing systems that we plan to
at least they figured it out
throw away
finally,
at the end of a year and a half or whatever. But doing so, I think, in a more some sort of thoughtful way that, as you were saying much earlier, gives us some opportunities to make use of prior content and, feels like it's going to be sustainable in the years to come.
I think we're really at our best when we're looking to solve problems, right? When you look at Mythic Plus that was introduced in Legion. Really, the problem that we were trying, that started from a problem. We identified a problem of we build these dungeons that are so beautiful, they're so epic, they're really exciting experiences, and then you stop running them after the first month of the game.
Well, the new idea is really cool. Mix them all the old ones back in.
Yeah, and that's another one where we're looking to really take cues from
Mythic
other
Plus
games
was a
and
good
really
idea.
look to build off of that foundation of such strong content of okay, cool, these were still fantastic dungeons.
And you're not the only ones. Nearly every MMO we've looked at that's gotten the decade-plus mark is now looking back at the not only thousands of man hours, but millions of dollars that have probably been spent, and they're just
Wasn't it always like that back in Mop Wad, and
why
tier
did we
lasted
just
over a year because they
abandon
weren't
that?
working on the
Exactly.
expansion as released there now?
Yeah, I mean,
Shift it so we don't end with that long.
One of the
15 month
revelations,
season. Yeah, well, that's good because that's bad. But I guess I didn't play during that
they
whole
have
time.
no intention of carrying them forward, and that just feels crazy. To know that it was fully intentional. I get what they're saying is because you start the next expansion, thinking about it, planning it a couple of years way before, right? It doesn't quite fit into that mold, like Warfronts.
Right.
Probably don't fit into Shadowlands particularly well, so we're just going to make it and leave it behind. But as a general whole idea, do you think that's just going to go away? We will look to, why are we investing time in this and not carrying it forward?
So I think there will absolutely be systems that are added to WoW that are evergreen and will continue to, move forward with us, and will continue to evolve those.
Yeah, I guess
that doesn't mean that they
I quit
can't
WoW at
change,
the beginning of
right?
Cataclysm, and I kind of quit WoW now. But I like hard quitting Cataclysm, so it's kind of it is a little bit different, to be fair.
Sort of grow it from there and
totally
try and make it work. That's that's what I think we hope for. Because when I found out, it's like, no, it's never in tentacles. I was like, you made like Sneaky Pete and this whole AI thing for islands, and it's like, yeah, but you know, it's not going to go anywhere. So when we see that coming in, I think people will be really appreciative of that idea.
Right. And it's always fun, like you mentioned Sneaky Pete and the islands and kind of the AI that got built there. There's always, you know, exciting opportunities when we build things like that to try to look at that as something that we could leverage for a future feature, right? Like, I've always loved the idea of like, gosh, wouldn't it be cool to add like an arena that was just played against like, you know, AI essentially, but what if we made them really good? And like, that could be pretty fun. Again? Right, like can we like recreate some of the like BlizzCon champions, like how they're played? That would be really fun. And like, hey, play against the BlizzCon champions. Like, what?
We did use some of the technology, right, with things like the comp stomp, or the amazing comp stomp, so they certainly are not challenge arena champions that you play against. It's like basically the honor farm situation.
I have two quests to kill Terrafiends.
This modular design concept is really, really important to understand how World of Warcraft is made, and it will answer a ton of questions you probably have about features that came into the game and then disappeared. Features you probably consider to be failures. Torghast, Island Expeditions, Warfronts, etc., etc. The way it works is Dragonflight is about to come out, but Dragonflight has actually been in production for 2 years. As me and you are talking right now, and no, I did not get to see anything, I intentionally closed my eyes, the next expansion is already in the works. Now they have to base what's coming out next on what they've done before and what you guys might like. The best example here is Artifact Power and Azerite Power. Ian mentioned that during Legion, they took a risk with Artifact Power, a never-ending grind, and it was met very, very well by the players. At the same time Legion's coming out and people are responding to this, Battle for Azeroth
I have a funny story about Stay Safe, but I don't know if I should tell it.
Is going to continue in terms of Azerite.
I just remembered a funny story about Stay Safe.
The guys are already building their island expeditions. These daily quests out where things will pop out to collect Azerite power. They're already building.
Do you guys know this?
This is
because I don't know if you guys know.
They're building as the natural succession to artifact weapons.
It was related to what Priest just said.
It's not until the end of Legion that people start getting annoyed with artifact power. It's an endless farm. I've been doing it now for 2 years.
Maybe I shouldn't repeat. I don't know if I should repeat it.
Frustrated by it. Oh no. Our next expansion has exactly the same system in place with more twists and turns involved in it. And there's nothing they can do about it. We've already built it. It's ready to go. We can't just scrap it and start again because it takes 2 years to make more things. This modular design concept also plays into this. Let's look at mop farms. Mop farms were super cool, but they make no sense when going into the next expansion, Warlords of Draenor. What they do, though, is use that technology. So we see
I'll say this much.
A cool thing that disappeared. The trick is,
it can't be that bad. I don't know,
meant
actually.
to continue. What it did do,
but long story short, I'll say this. Long story short,
a bit of farming.
Stay Safe knew about Shadowlands two years before it was coming out.
We as players see those features as failures. We look at Garrisons and we say,
but I don't want to tell the whole story.
We consider them failure because they don't exist going forward. The fact of the matter is, they were never going to carry forward.
Literally 2 years before it came out.
How much resources, if players don't like it, can you throw into a system that you know is
but not
going
like
to
he
be gone
it was funny,
months?
but I don't know if I can repeat the whole story.
Not a lot. Because you're going to be rid of it soon anyway. That's what's going to happen. And its replacement is already being built, if not already built. So you know that you're going to get
Blade of Misfortune, by the way?
This is why they utilize the technology at the back end to make the next thing
Dude, I've been going 2 levels without it.
Going to be better. So mop farms becomes
and
garrison.
I do all this damage.
They then use that garrison technology to create class halls. They then use the class hall technology to make covenant sanctums, using that same tech. And therefore, they don't consider it a failure. But in the player's eyes, we do consider it a failure. And this is what's going to change. Instead of us constantly slotting in these Lego bricks of these various features and systems that we don't understand, like Soulbinds, and Netherlight Crucible, all those things that we just were like, what is this? And then it just disappears. Essences would be another example. Now we're going to look at things long term. Talent trees, we can keep that going. The new profession system, we can keep that going. And whatever else Dragonflight has in mind, there will still be some things which are expansion specific, because it does make sense that the new Island Expedition doesn't make sense in a Shadowlands environment, but it should be way less so, with much more care given, like other MMOs are doing, to allowing them to go forward and be iterated on and stay with the familiar for the players. This feels like it's perfectly in line with
certain things like people just tell us
loop that you're changing.
But Shadowlands,
are you worried? Because I feel
he knew
like
about Shadowlands like 2 years before it happened.
Someone like me could look at Dragonflight and be like, heaven. I can come away for a week like I am now here with you guys. I'm not screwed.
Yeah.
I'm not screwed over. I'm not screwing my raid team or anything like that. And this is fine. But we've now got a huge amount of players who have never known World of Warcraft without logging in.
I don't know how I can tell the story of how Stay Safe knew that without getting anybody in trouble. And, yeah. Anyway.
And having a list created for them of things that they should do. And how do you think that's going to be met with the player base once they get into an environment? It's like, choose where you want to go.
And I think the hope is, well, I mean, there's still, you can look at your world map, and there's plenty of activities. There's world quests and other events. There's things to do to raise your different renowns that you're chasing. And early on, again, for the people who don't have their sights set on doing high Mythic Plus or jumping in and getting into Mythic rating as soon as they can, a lot of the item level rewards from all of those systems will be very relevant. And, going and helping either, Rathian or Sibelian out the Obsidian Citadel or otherwise. Depends. It depends on how I feel on any given day.
Commit. Coward.
No.
Pick a side.
We'll see what the canon choice ends up being. But in any case, all of those things are offering powerful rewards. It's not like we've just said there's no more reward in the game. But for the people who, the people who are focused on the hardcore stuff, who are getting, 410 plus gear from other sources, they have plenty to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't need to try to, offer them more reasons to spend more time in World of Warcraft than they're otherwise spending. And I think, all this is just there with a sense of freedom to explore it as you see fit. For some people, maybe you're going to focus on getting raid ready during the first couple of weeks, and you'll come back and check out the renown tracks later because there are mounts or dragon riding skins or other things you want to unlock. Or again, if you're someone who's really focused on professions, there are specific recipes. If you're a leather worker, you're going to want to, work on that Centaur renown
ancestral beads
to get some of the leatherworking recipes from there. So it's all of the same philosophies are there. It's just we don't have that artifact power, that soulbind renown, that thing that is just hitting everyone over the head with being completely mandatory regardless of your playstyle. And again, that gets back to we don't want to force players into content that they don't inherently enjoy. We want to let you play the game the way you want to play the game.
Are you far more relaxed now with it's okay if people aren't logging in week on week? If they log in just for, because you mentioned earlier, raid logging would be the prime example, but obviously in terms of logging in to do the specific thing they want to do, because it's felt like for a good long time now, we want people online, we want WoW to be a part of their daily habits almost. By intention, your mission, even your mission board and BFA, collecting your Azerite power, whatever it might be. There's a lot of these systems seem designed to engage somebody at least on a daily basis as the norm. So are you more relaxed now with that? Probably isn't going to be. It won't be for me. Is what I would say. It's not going to be. There's other options out there that are equally as fun, and maybe less fun, but also I can jump into that experience very quickly. You've got games like Path of Exile out there that are just free.
Sure.
Not going through a great time right now, but generally speaking, the market is so flooded with this. Is this something you're adapting to, accepting, or?
I mean, all the above to an extent. I mean, I think we never want, our goal is never habit in the sense of like you have to log in when you don't want to. Our goal is for you to want to log in. Our goal is for you to want to play World of Warcraft and to look forward
I was
going to
say
the game,
that's what they
to
should
have
want.
something you want to complete, something you want to chase. And if you're not wanting it, then getting you to do it despite that isn't a victory for us. It's just burning people out. And so I think giving people the freedom to feel like they can take a step away, do something in real life, play another game for a while without falling behind is valuable. I think the one thing that we do worry about when it comes to sort of the raid logging phenomenon or people taking breaks is the social nature of the game, is sort of the critical mass of keeping a group together. If the person
I was gonna say,
really
dude, he should just double down and just be like, yeah, we want people to log on every day. That's
and
the
no
goal.
one from their guild is online.
That's true.
Because of whatever reason, and then they just log
the
back
game
off,
should
kinda
want people to log
disappointed
on every day.
because they were hoping to play with friends, but their friends weren't around. That can be an issue, and I think that's
just
something
say it
going
straight
back
up.
to WoD, to Warlords of Draenor.
But don't do it
that was
like
probably the peak of the raid
he
logging
did. He did make a
era,
good
where
point
really
saying you don't
there
want them to
was,
log in when they don't
other than
want to
checking
log
your
in.
garrison,
Because then
if it
they'll
wasn't
just like
raid
play
night,
the game
there was
reluctantly
nothing
or
to
not
do.
play the game.
It wasn't because
That
Myth
wasn't
Plus didn't
outside
even
your
exist
garrison
back then.
as well,
Yeah.
Go in,
look at all 10 of your characters, or
Yeah, and so
I just wish you would have been more direct about it.
That
You know what I mean?
felt like a
Like,
step
yeah,
too
wait, MILF
too
power
far
is here?
toward that end of the spectrum. But ultimately, as long as we're keeping social groups somewhat healthy, we want people to be able to play the game.
Dude,
in a
I
way that
ranked
makes them
against
happy.
this guy.
Excellent.
Wait,
Like,
why are
this
you
is all
on
very
Benediction?
positive,
right?
Yeah,
It's
Why are you horde on Benediction, MILF Plower? There's nobody else on this server. MILF Plower shrugs, who knows?
It seems like it should. It's kind of a no-brainer, but
Well, no, I mean
yeah.
that's the experience
Well,
I've
frick.
had. And
There he
I've done
is.
some mystical quest now, like Kung Fu, is like trying all these different experiences. Like the main thing I'm seeing is
No,
they just create
the Horde are
experiences
extinct
that you
here.
want to log in
Yeah.
for. You don't have to log in.
Maybe
for,
there are MILFs
which is
on the
what I
server.
remember
Oh,
from
okay.
World of Warcraft.
There's a player base of millions of folks who've said, we like this game, we've chosen to make this our home, we ignore them at our folly. Like, what do they want, what do they not want?
I think that's enough about gameplay. Dragonflight is changing so much. This mandatory content that we've been burdened with for the last 8 years is going away. There'll still be some stuff, and that's basically them wanting you to be excited about it. Come and check it out, see what it's like, but then you can leave it alone. It's more of an introduction than anything else, and I think that's a fair balance that they've struck. But now we need to move on to a more sensitive subject. The elephant in the room. Sexual allegations against Blizzard has been a prominent subject around the world. It's still ongoing, with lawsuits still pending. But let's find out what they've done to change things internally.
Frat boy culture. That is how Activision Blizzard is now being described here in this new lawsuit filed by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. The state agency alleges that female employees there are subjected to sex discrimination, unlawful sexual harassment, retaliation, and unequal pay.
Let's get into a few ground rules of this
Harassment.
subject because it's a little sensitive. And investigations are still ongoing and probably will be ongoing for a while, which means we can't dive into specifics. We're simply not allowed. I'm also not a journalist. I am not the person who should be diving into this stuff. There are lawyers and things working on this currently to find out exactly what happened and make sure the right people are compensated. We know certain things have happened at Blizzard. We are fully aware that they have done a complete equity paycheck on every single employee in the business.
Well, someone
making
jumped ship
sure
to
that
Final
person
Fantasy
A
that happened,
doing the
came
same
back,
job
now it's
as
been over a
person
year.
B are being paid.
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, dude, Blizzard immediately went and like when all this stuff came out, when all this stuff came out and things were found out about it, like they got rid of and fired a bunch of these people. So like, a lot of that stuff is horrible, right? I mean, all that stuff. It's bad. It's horrible. It's all this stuff. But, you know, I'm one to complain about Blizzard as much, if not more than anybody, right? But at the same time, what I thought was really shitty was seeing people harass people who are working at Blizzard when it's like, dude, this is just their job, right? And they go and they, like, you expect people to quit their jobs whenever their employers already fired all the people that did all the bad stuff and got rid of them or whatever. And especially like, well, you know what I saw a lot of whenever this happened? I saw a lot of people like harassing women that work at Blizzard. That, which, like, to me, it's like, okay, well, like, that's just like, what? Like, I feel like it's just people being like, they're just having an opportunity to shit on people and they're just taking it. You know what I mean? Bobby Cotton. Well, dude, that's kind of like the point of what I was saying the other day, where, listen, just being 100% honest, I don't think Bobby Kotick has any idea of what's going on about anything. You know? But like, it just in general, I just didn't think that. But yeah, like that whole thing was like, jokes aside, like, yeah, that whole thing was like an absolute shit show. But I feel like the response was appropriate when they got rid of all the people, you know? My boss got me too. I've been with the company for 12 years. It's hard to give up tenure because of one bad apple. Yeah. So, no, I was, I mean, did he threaten to kill one of his employees? Yeah, I don't know. I was just trolling. I was just making a joke about the guy's old and disconnected. That was just a joke. But, how do you guys feel about that? Do you guys feel like Blizzard's response was appropriate to, like, fire all the people or whatever, and then seeing like people get harassed who like still work at Blizzard, which is like, to me, it's like just like omega unfair. I feel like the mob harassed them even more. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like super unfair to people just trying to work and had nothing to do with the shit that happened. Yeah, that's how I feel. Use the cleansing vial in your bags, okay?
Exactly the same amount for doing that job. We
Denver
know
harassment
that's
is super
taking
common on the
place, and
internet.
people are
It's
very
insane.
happy
Don't think you can avoid it.
What we're
Yeah, it
going
just
to do
sucks.
is give
It just
Blizzard the
sucks,
pop
Project
from.
Lead.
We're going to ask the question of what their goal
It's
is
so stupid.
overall. What is their philosophy
I mean, you know.
overall to make sure things like this never happen again? Amongst all the Dragonflight changes that have come from the last 7 years of expansions, it's been so changed. But you've also had so much, and we've got to get into this, it's like so much upheaval internally with COVID. We obviously had all the harassment stuff that came through and massive changes amongst the staff. Like, how have you dealt with that in terms of dealing with the motivation of the staff, the internal environment, and then pushing forward with an entirely new philosophy on the game for Dragonflight? It's got to have been a rough couple of years.
It's definitely been a challenging couple of years, but I think the team today is stronger and more tight-knit than we've ever been, having come through that and having weathered it. I mean, COVID in 2020 was obviously threw the whole world for a loop, to say the least, and began a process for us of relearning a lot of
I'm at the bones.
Lifelong creative and collaborative processes. Of,
Gil, thank you
how
for the
do
10,
you
give the thing, man.
Have what used to be the casual conversation around a whiteboard, or bouncing ideas off your office mate.
To talk about it yesterday, it's like it's very, very strange, and in the creative environment, that's really hard. And you've done Shadowlands and Dragonflight.
Someone threw a pick six in the 3 Defenders and came at me on Twitter like it was my fault when I didn't even work on that.
Okay, this is a lot
great.
of challenges to face.
I think it's been resolving some problems and
Thanks a
figuring
ton,
out
Gil.
systems and
Appreciate it,
processes
man.
that work. And a lot of I think a lot of what we've come up with, we would keep regardless. Even if we could all come back to the office tomorrow, there are certain meetings that we would have that we'd keep virtual forever. I think it is it's the social connections, it's the casual interactions that are the hardest to reproduce, but we continue to work at it. And then obviously the other major event last year, I think really it triggered a period of ongoing self-reflection for the team as a whole, for the company as a whole. Starting last summer, it was both looking inward to our culture, to our history, to frankly ask, like, are we who the internet says we are? Is this who we really are? And I think the answer we came to is no, but also certainly it's who we never want
the
to be
Alliance.
and want to have no chance of being. So how do we change our processes? How do we develop a culture of feedback and listening and openness and trust that makes sure that even the slightest hint of impropriety will be raised and dealt with before we ever got any place close to the allegations from years and years ago?
Where the hell do I do this quest at? These are the bones of Agonar, aren't they?
And kind of re-examining, we were hearing lots of feedback, not just about anger at the revelations in the lawsuits, but about the state of the game.
Yep. It was a double whammy.
Your I'm quitting video very much included. Of like, we're missing something big here, right? Our goal at the end of the day is to make a world that players want to spend time in, that they're going to love spending time in. And
We're in front of them. That's where I was.
That's the passion that drives all of us, and we're failing.
This is the third day.
I went right
we've
here
been
and it didn't
on
do
the
it.
Blizzard campus, and it's a strange, strange place. It's huge.
Yeah, what the
7
hell?
giant buildings housing Overwatch over
Oh,
there.
now it
They're
works.
doing World of
Okay,
Warcraft
dude,
in there.
I
They're
was
doing WoW
spamming it
Classic
here.
over there. It's a weird, weird environment to be in because there's nobody here. Blizzard has been running about 15% staff.
It shows you on the map.
site
I know,
since
but I was
Shadowlands,
spamming
since
it
COVID
all
kicked
over
in.
here, and it
And
wasn't
doesn't
working
plan on
earlier.
changing. People that are here generally come in for 1 or 2 days a week. The rest of the time they work from home. And all across California,
Dude.
the other gaming companies we've spoken to
What the
this
frick?
week,
Thanks a ton,
that is
man.
going to stay exactly
Thanks a ton,
like
Chonkosaurus.
that.
The last 4 years have been really tumultuous for you guys. We've had COVID, and walking around yesterday.
Dude, I needed that
reflect just
so
to see
bad.
everything and see how it
Thank you,
works,
man.
But desolate.
Oh, it's 10
You know,
ounce. What's up,
very
dude?
strange
Thank you,
and
man.
eerie feeling because everything is designed
We here
for
at
so
lunch?
much fun. Yeah, well, today's an anomaly, and I know that. I've been told that many times by the comms team. They're like, "It's not like this. We've not set this up. These aren't paid actors to give it some life." But we did
Paid
the full
actors.
tour yesterday. Everything you guys have set up for all the staff is so fun. Like they're very creative in their places. Seeing the team, the staff just playing volleyball at lunch, that's stuff. That's exactly why we're here. No one sees that, right?
Yeah.
That's what they don't know happens.
Yeah.
But obviously, then the allegations come out. Huge shake up at the top. Like, and you guys are the ones who steered that ship, as far as I know. So we need to know, how did you do that? You came into a really rough patch, and then you seemingly have got here. So,
well, I mean, as you pointed out, I mean, who could have predicted the last couple of years? I mean, just having COVID and having to work from home, and we literally mobilized like within a couple of days. It's like, okay, everyone, there's a lockdown happening. You need to go home to be safe, and we're going to make sure you have equipment. And then we literally went through a cycle of getting everyone machines. That alone was a big deal, to deal with. And certainly, the issues that we faced as a company and even as our team, our team felt very strongly about.
I'm laughing because that picture reminded me of my whenever I was wearing the hazmat suit. Do you guys remember that stream?
And what we want to be, as a team. And I'm really proud of how much the team. Nobody on the team got defensive. Nobody said, "Oh, but this, that, or the other," and said, "No, okay, this is a wake-up call for us. This is something that we have to ingrain in our culture and reinforce." And we've grown as a team, and as new players come onto our team, we want to make sure that they are safe, that they understand what our values are, and that we want our game to be inclusive and diverse. Because after all, our audience it's around the globe. I'm going to throw one thing at you because I also oversee the Warcraft franchise.
Yes.
In our 28-year history, we've accumulated 250 million players in Warcraft. Around 250 million players.
It's crazy when you see the number, right?
It's nuts, right?
That's kind of crazy.
You think of how big that is, and it's important.
250 million individual
that
accounts,
game and the content that's in that game reflects that diverse audience, and that's something that this team has embraced wholeheartedly, and it's been great. It's been great to see, and letting our game and our team speak for us, and what we stand for. I've never been through that kind of experience before, especially making games, which I think a lot of people think of as kind of trivial entertainment, or at least they did when I first got started with it. And now it's an important part of people's lives.
No, I totally get that, and I can't say I've never seen a happier workforce besides mine, obviously. No, everybody's been super happy.
Feel free to speak candidly if you don't agree.
But it generally has felt that way being here, because that's exactly why I asked to do this. I watched the latest couple of interviews. The Dragonflight announcement I really disliked because it was very glossy and shiny. I was like, this isn't gamers. It's not us. Who are you talking to? And then you get here and it's like, this is the reality. Chilling out, shouting, playing volleyball, and doing all those kind of things. And I think you should be proud of what you've done, because
that's true, dude. Dragonflight, like all the Dragonflight videos have been like freaking Disney Pixar.
The stories that came out
Dragon
over
Tales,
that time
like, you know
were
what I mean?
absolutely horrific, and they're still ongoing, which is why the guys couldn't say much. No woman working anywhere should feel that way, and this is an industry-wide problem that we're seeing all over the place and hopefully is being addressed. Blizzard themselves are doing what they can, making sure that the lines of communication are open, and the message has been absolutely loud and clear. We spoke to people off camera, on camera about this, and that message was simple. This can never, ever happen again. They can't afford to have it happen again, and they don't want to be associated with that kind of environment, and they're trying to move forward as a team, and as Ian said, they don't want to be the people the internet says they are. They don't want that at all. And it's nice to see that during the stages that the staff did, that John Haidt was out there supporting them as well. The new leadership is a big part of why we went. Fresh blood in. We've had Holly come in, Mike Ibarra come in, and we have Microsoft potentially coming in the future, who are all addressing this issue to make lives better for themselves. And we hope for that to be there. In total, Activision Blizzard has laid off 37 staff, reprimanded a further 40 plus. I can't predict the future, and it's not my place to do so. I can't talk to everybody at Blizzard, and the fact is, as was pointed out to us several times, is the fact that people can now work from home has given them a safety net to be able to speak out as quickly as possible if something is going wrong. What the future holds is on Blizzard. And so we'll pay attention to these ongoing lawsuits, what's going on, and what they're doing with. But I can tell you this, and I'm okay with saying this. What I saw while I was there was extremely happy people. Obviously, not everybody's there, but that's what I saw. The only times that Blizzard asked us to turn our cameras around was when the staff were squealing with delight at seeing other employees. They've been apart for so long, and they love working there, and they love the other people they work with. We've heard from other sources that you will see in other interviews coming out later that the rumors and reports are that things are much, much, much better at Blizzard itself, especially in the Warcraft team, and they're all working to make things good for them. That's what we know, but it's up to them to prove it. The other thing I want to discuss is why did we go? Why did we do this? Why did I pay to send me and another member of my staff all this equipment over across the other side of the world in order to see Blizzard? When I left, I was about as deeply upset about a video game as I'd ever been. World of Warcraft provided me so much, and I had to say goodbye. But I felt we owed them another chance. And what was really interesting is that the top execs at Blizzard, not just in regards to me, but in regards to you guys as well who may have left, felt the same way.
Wow, when it
oh my gosh, we're 20 minutes away from launch.
I mean, Facebook was only at Harvard. It hadn't yet hit the rest of the world. And for a lot of people, social interaction through the chat of WoW and logging in on WoW was one of their first experiences in being around a bunch of other people and exchanging ideas. Even though the premise is we're playing this game together, but we're also having meaningful discourse. And I think that we want to see that we're doing the same thing, 5 and 10 years from now that we did back then.
Especially because seemingly when I stopped making regular content, I mean, you guys, not directly, but World of Warcraft gave me a career. I've traveled the world with my children because of World of Warcraft, and to leave that behind was devastating. Like to the point where I could not play this game anymore. That's where I was at. I can't even fathom logging into play anymore. Nope. We met in 15 years ago when you were in Molten Core.
Wow.
He was just a raider in Molten Core, in my Molten Core guild. And we disconnected for a decade. And then, because I was streaming and stuff, he was like, oh, Mike.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, and now he works for me, and we're all doing very well. So I owe all that to him. So it's like leaving it behind was devastating. And then I see Dragonflight's coming out, and I kind of got the message. We kind of changed everything that you were moaning about. Come have a look. I was like, okay. And then I came in. I was skeptical. I was a pessimist. I was like, it's here somewhere.
Actually,
that's like power under this table. I know there is. It's lurking, and it's like, no, it's not there. So that's when I watched the last interview with Ian and Max. I was like, this ain't right. Let's send a message. Can we come? Can we do something that's casual, relaxed, a conversation, instead of like, here's 20 questions. Go, 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 go. Right, I'm going.
Yep.
I feel all requests.
So thank you.
Oh no, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You've been wonderful, both of you. Returned.
Yeah, thanks for not giving up on us.
Yeah.
How can I? I agree with you guys.
The sun is setting on our time here at Blizzard for now, and this video. Everything we were promised, we were given. Unprecedented access. We got to go absolutely everywhere. We were well taken care of. We got to look at everything, and it's hard not to be impressed with the changes in leadership and the direction that they're going with this game. I can't promise what's going to be here in the next 5 years. What I can tell you is, as I'm talking to you right now, a meeting has been going on since 5 a.m. discussing where World of Warcraft will be in the next 10 years. They're duly focused on new things. It's Era 3 is what they're calling it. It's going to be a big change from everything we've seen since Legion, since Classic. They're going in a different way, and they're going to see how people like it, and they're going to adapt.
I feel like this is Blizzard's last chance.
Is that they're listening to player fluid feedback. The game is going to be dictated far more by what players want to do. The idea of modular content will remain, but now they're looking to make content that is far more evergreen. Features added in Dragonflight should still have relevance 3 expansions down the road, not just left to the bin like Warfronts, Island Expeditions, Torghast, Garrisons. The list goes on. Class halls, which have all been fan favorites, some of them less so, but then just disappeared every single time, which was by design in the past. That's going to change. They're going to look at it in a different way. It's worth a look, and it's worth checking out because their intentions seem very, very pure. I'm super happy with what we found here. I couldn't have asked for more. I couldn't have asked for more time, and I'm glad we came, and I'm glad we did this. Thank you for coming along for this journey, and we'll see you again soon.
Oh my gosh, look at how much I have to train. I think that video was really good. I think Preach did a phenomenal job. I think Preach did a phenomenal job. I think Preach always does a phenomenal job. in his videos. I mean, he's one of the OGs, and I think he asked a lot of really good questions to begin with. I think he asked a lot of really good questions, but he also hit on a lot of topics that are I think he hit on a lot of topics that I think a lot of people wanted to hear about, you know. Greg, who's Greg? Obliterate. A brutal instant attack that deals 80% weapon damage plus 198 total damage increased by 12.5% per each. Wait a second. One frost, one unholy. Obliterate. Obliterate. Path of Frost. It's been Fortitude. Rune of Fletchbane. A fixed room weapon. Rune at 2% extra. It's fire. 4% versus undead targets. Death and Decay. Plague Strike. Death Coil. Cool. Cool. Slady, thank you for the 27 months. If you're leveling his blood, you won't use Obliterate much. You use Death and Decay and Death Coil a ton. Really? Use Death and Decay a lot? Okay, it's about time for Dragonflight. I feel like Lichbane is better than this Cinder Glacier that I have. Is Bonnie ready? I thought Bonnie was gonna come here sooner. Let me go check on her.
Hold the line, chat. He's gone, we finna do it. 77777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777777
Yeah, I'm back. They're not even in the docks, dude. I'm not even. I don't even know. I'm not even. All right, guys, let's do it.
Alliance chats, make sure you turn on war mode. That 20% XP buff is too hard to pass up.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna level in war mode. If I'm leveling with Bonnie, we're just gonna, because we're gonna have like weirdos and stream snipers. Actually, maybe not.
Hey there.
4 minutes? Yeah. Hold on, we'll get there in just a second, chat. Okay, let's see.
Is this working?
Where does obliterate? I feel like obliterate kind of sucks. It's your main ability? It does less damage than Heart Strike. For 2 more runes. For 1 more rune. Do Death Knights have an execute? Yeah, that's great, Vinny. All right, let's see, chat. Let's see. So we're going to the docks. If this X-Pack flops, then it's dead in 1 year. You're gonna miss the boat? Where's the boat? Get in the boat, boy. What dock is it? The first move. While the Covenants labor to defend the Shadowlands, the jailer has not sat idle within Torghast. It seems he intends to set the next phase of his scheme into motion. Pull Mark addressed this has brought us disturbing news from a Legion hold. He will recount what he witnessed once you arrive. Make haste, I fear that time grows short. Okay, guys, here's what we're going to do today. Today, we are going to start leveling in Dragonflight. I mean, hopefully this expansion is good. You guys know I'm not a huge retail WoW guy, but even though I'm not a huge retail WoW guy, I do really hope that that retail is good. I hope for the best for the game. I don't really know what's going to happen, right? We've talked a lot about that, but we're actually going to level today with Bonnie. I guess she's getting ready, but we're going to level with Bonnie. She has never played a retail WoW before. I think it'll be interesting to level with somebody who's never played any retail. On top of this being a new expansion, I think it'll actually be a pretty cool viewing experience. So, yeah, everybody pog. Let's get it going. I think it'll be fun. Yeah?
That can suck my mama.
Wild Boy, thank you for the 3 months. The Anti-Imperialist, thank you for the 4 months. Sarge Angel, thank you for the 34 months. Dupes, 32 months. Slady, 27 months. Astrid, 7 months. Modesto, 31 months. Cecilia White, 16 months. Mof, thank you for the 20 months. Thank you guys so much, man. Omega 2K3 with that's the first 2 gifted subs. Nice. Nice. Icer, 2 gifted subs. Thank you. Hello from Ireland. What's up, Garvin? Walk Senpai, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Guys, if you gift 2 subs, you should get the boat. Thank you, Jumbolino, with the 2 gifted. You actually get a pet in-game if you gift 2 subs. It's the wrong boat? Guys, this is the boat. For sure. Go on it. Still the more, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Wandorf, 2 gifted. What's up, Wandorf? Carrot, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Sway, thank you for the 2 gifted. Thank you guys so much. Was it 2 or 10? No, 2. 2 gifted. 2 gifted. Thank you, Stubblemore. Thank you for the 10. Okay, Bonnie's getting ready. We're gonna wait for Bonnie. But yeah, Bonnie's getting ready. Dupes, thank you for the 2 gifted. Captain Galeris, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Bastic, thank you. I am Alarm Clock, thank you for the 5 gifted. Guys, thank you so much for all the subs, man. 3 hours for hair, dude. 10 hours for hair.
Anchors away.
Oh my god, we missed the boat. It's a Dragonflight. Talented Mist, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Peon, 5 gifted. Felipe, 5 gifted. Thank you guys so much, man. Take the quest. I'm waiting for Bonnie just to not get confused or anything, you know. Ace Plays, thank you for the 2 gifted. Rooster, thank you for the 2 gifted. Peon, thank you for the 5 months. Wooman, thank you for the 2 gifted. Heavy D, thank you for the 2 gifted. Hio XD, Hio, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Big Rock, thank you for the 5 gifted. Dude, you guys are popping the hell off. Thank you guys so much, man. The Lockdown, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Mad Monster, 2 gifted subs. Backyard Stranger, 5 gifted subs. Thank you, dude. People were crashing on the boat. Nice. That's how it goes. Dragoos, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Demonicus, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Demonicus, thank you, man. I crashed. Chat, type 1 of you crashed. Guys, thank you so much for all the gifted subs. I really, really appreciate it.
How are you? You need something?
Was gonna crash at loading? Go to the boat IRL. The Wugget, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Thank you, The Wugget. Thank you, Chris, for 2 gifted. Hey, it's Caleb, 2 gifted. Thank you, man. Haichu, 5 gifted subs. Thank you, Haichu. Pablo Coalini, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Thank you, man. Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate it.
19-month Andy.
Tom Good, 19 months. Thank you. Vananod, 5 gifted. Stun Chi Rocker, thank you, Stunt Rocker, for the 2 gifted. Pupelli, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Bold as Love, 2 gifted subs. Thank you, man. I'm gonna... Calamaro, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Miss Kitten, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Cecilia White, thank you for gifting 1 sub. Thank you, Cecilia White. Crew Jones, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Monsieur Roscoe, thank you for the 5 gifted. Zemio, thank you for giving us up to Hackskin. Crew Jones, 2 gifted subs. Cecilia White gives us up to Brack. Thank you. Colby, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Thank you guys so much, man. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks a ton, man. Thank you guys all so much. I'm really glad Blizzard did this. It's pretty huge. Tom God, thank you, man. Thank you, Tom God, for the gifted sub as well. Matty Mo, thank you. So MB, thank you. Atishu, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Burninator, thank you. Thank you guys so much, man. Ito the Feral, thank you for the 2 gifted subs.